welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart and Jess Perkins.
Hello, Dave.
Hey,
Hello,
Dave.
Matt.
Hey, Jess.
And joining us this week is a very special guest. It is Mr. Alasdair Tremblay-Birchall.
Holy moly, I can't believe I got to return.
Oh, you're back.
Happy block, Al.
Hey, thank you. Happy block to all of you.
Thank you so much. It's a special time of year.
Absolutely. For me, this is Christmas
Yes.
in my religion.
Yeah.
In my religion.
And that religion is...
Do go on it.
Yes.
Well, we were always worried that our Facebook group is becoming more and more cult-like, and there it is. Do Go On it.
I wasn't worried.
No.
It was all falling into place.
Exactly. So it's very nice. I appreciate that, I did so well with Keen For Peen that you had me back 1 or 2 years later.
Honestly, I was thinking, was it this time last year? Was it 3 years ago? I can't tell you.
I have no idea.
Me neither. Time has become a blur. We are all hurtling towards death.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just good to have a moment with you before the end.
It is, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think this is good. I'm not sure anymore.
We'll soon find out.
Yeah.
But you've come in to tell us about the second most voted for topic in block.
That's right. Yes, this topic, I don't know if you know this, but you have listeners. And this topic was suggested by a listener, by one of those listeners. Catherine Conrad.
Catherine Conrad.
No
thank you so
relation.
much. Really?
No relation to me.
To Conrad Strait at Bathurst.
Yeah. No relation to
Do
me
you
or
say-
to the straight.
Do you say no relation when you're talking about anyone?
You fear nepotism.
I fear people will think that I'm involved in some kind of
Whoa,
conflict of interest.
Hey, whoa, this is totally above board. I am not related to this person.
That's right. Yes. And the topic that they have suggested. Now I'm going to create a question for
Okay.
that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What would you get if you were celebrating the birthday?
Yes.
The birthday.
The birthday.
Okay.
A cake?
That's right. For the pleasure center of the female body.
What would
Oh,
you?
the
What would you
mind.
get?
So let's say with the cake, right? You got the cake,
Yeah.
right? And you're about to celebrate
Yep.
the pleasure center of the female body.
Sure.
What would you get?
What would you get?
With the candles. With the candles.
I think I know the answer, and even still, I'm struggling to connect it.
Is this how the questions usually go? Are they
Yeah.
really this
Yeah.
Is it lit for clit?
It is lit for clit. It is lit for clit. The candles would be lit for the
Would be
clit.
lit. Okay.
Or they would be litterous for the clitoris.
Yes.
And so that is your topic.
Wow.
So good. So you didn't come up with that. That was the title's been come up with by Conrad Strait. Is that
I believe it is the massive do go honors.
Yeah,
do go
okay.
onity. Do Christians do goinians. I can't remember
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, that's not bad.
Do goinians?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
So this is really a follow on from your previous report
It's
you did,
the
which
sequel.
was what was it?
Keen
Hot
for
cock?
Peen.
Keen for Peen.
Keen for
Keen for
Peen,
Peen.
the history of the penis.
That's right.
That's right.
And so this will be lit for clit, the history of the clitoris.
Wow.
Wait, I don't think we've explained the show. Dave, can you quickly explain the show for new listeners? Because I know big clit heads will be searching for
Yes,
for podcast
hello.
episodes about
Yeah.
the clit.
Hello, clit
Hello,
heads.
clit heads, one and all. Basically, what we do here is we take it in turns to report on a topic, often suggested by a listener. This one by Catherine Conrad Strait. Thank
No
you so
relation.
much. No relation. And we're doing our most requested topics, our biggest ones for the year. Basically, we put a big poll out, over 100 topics, and we've done the top 7. This is the second most requested topic, so no pressure, Al, but people
No,
love the idea.
It's
of
fine.
this.
Yeah. And I want to be upfront here and admit that I don't have a clitoris.
Okay.
Not on my person,
Yep.
at least.
Yep.
And I don't own any in jars or anything like that.
Okay.
And I also
You're
want
saying that like it's a bad thing, but I reckon
Yeah.
you come out looking pretty good.
Yeah, great. Well, that's cool. That's great. But I mean, I want you to know that a lot of people with clitorises have died over the years, and some of them may have been happy to donate their clitorises to science.
To a jar.
To a jar.
Yeah.
Science jar. I think of those things as the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't have any. And so...
Like, that's a defense when people are like, well, actually, I do own a clitoris. Look over here. They point to a shelf.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is a jar.
Just one jar.
It's the only jar on the shelf. I waited for this day, and it feels so good.
Is the rest of the shelf empty, or it's a lone jar like on a bookcase?
I was imagining a completely empty shelf.
just
And I
one
love
jar.
that the clitoris, having a clitoris, made that person feel so good because that, as you will discover, is the purpose of the clitoris.
I've
And-
always wondered.
And I want to also
It's funny that this is the third mythical episode in a row. We had the
Atlantis.
we had the money pit, and now the clitoris.
and now the clitoris. That's
Next
right.
week,
And
I
those-
swear we'll do something based in reality.
Something
good.
that actually exists.
I want to also be upfront by saying that the history of our knowledge of the clitoris has been hampered over the sort of 5 to 2,000 years that we've been fully aware of it in written form by the fact that only men have been in charge of discovering and communicating information about the clitoris, and they have done a terrible job for a long time, and I hope to continue that tradition. But you know, I'll do my best. But let's begin.
Well, before, do you want to read out Conrod's? What?
That's what I wanted to do.
Oh, sorry.
So that's what I wanted to do. No, that's what I was about to skip it. So thank you very much for the reminder. So please, here is Catherine Conrad's words. Seriously, please do an episode on the clitoris. There's a hilarious and frustrating history of medical science ignoring or dismissing it altogether, widespread mistaken understandings of what it actually is, including the size and shape, and half the population of the planet has one, but even most thorough sex ed classes tend to skip over it. That last fact might not be true. I don't know. Maybe you should do an episode about it. Well,
Okay.
that last fact is also true. From what I've researched, it seems like not only do sex ed classes skip over it, but also many scientific anatomy books that teach doctors about anatomy
Right.
skip over it. So, what
That's ridiculous.
is the clitoris? Well, people may know it as a nub.
Oh.
At the top of the vulva, right? So for many people, some people name that whole package that women have the vagina, but actually the whole package is called the vulva. So let's just start there. What do you call it?
The whole package.
The whole package. Great. And
I call it Little Dynamo.
that's great, Matt.
It's the little man in the boat, isn't it? So I guess the
That's
whole
right.
thing's the boat.
The boat. That's right. Okay, great.
Noah's Ark. 2
and
by 2.
So it's the little nub at the top of the vulva that is the source of female sexual pleasure. That little bit that we can see is called the glans clitoris, right? It has a hood on it, and that's mostly all that we've known about it for about 2,000 years. We now know that 90% of its bulk lies beneath the surface,
Like an iceberg.
and we now know that it's also made of ice.
Yeah,
That's right. It's pretty cool.
notoriously cold.
But we're going to go into that a little bit later. People think that the word clitoris comes from the Greek Clitoris. I don't know how to speak Greek, so I don't know how to pronounce that. But which has been translated as both little hill and to rub, which they think is a play on words, right? So it's like a play on words if the word penis came from the Greek words for pen and to whack off. Right? So it's like, it'd be similar.
Al, so is clitoris a pun?
I think clitoris could be a pun, a Greek pun, like that.
That's so great.
Yeah. So it may be a funny joke.
That's amazing.
I call this my hill to rub. Okay.
Little hill.
Little hill.
If only you knew how deep this hill went.
That's right. They didn't know at the time there was a whole tunnel. There's a whole tunnel system. Okay. So here's a little bit about our history of our knowledge of clitorides. Apparently, there's a plural of clitorises.
And it's not
For
clitori.
It's not clitori. I don't know. This is what I saw. I'm not 100% sure because it's such an uncommon word that you can't even find a pronunciation thing, except for one of those. There's only one that was done by like a YouTube robot.
Yeah.
And that just goes clitorides, which sounds awful. And I
Yeah.
think if it was probably of Greek origin, then I know with octopuses,
Clitoridae or
the
something.
Greek pluralization is octopodes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So-
that's nice.
That is real good.
Clitorides maybe
Love that.
could be.
Yeah, that's That's much nicer.
Because you told us the plural for penises is peenies,
That's right.
which I love.
Peenies.
Peenies. I think about that every day.
Yeah, that's so nice. Well, now you got a second thing to think about every single day for equality.
Yeah, come on, Dave.
And how many clitorides does a set of octopodes have?
Well, I think one for every finger, and I think they have 8 fingers. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
That's how they get the oct in the name.
oct.
How many
Yeah,
fingers?
that's the
How many
oct.
fingers?
Clitorides. That's the second name for. I don't know. They might actually have heaps. They might have none.
Clitorides does make it sound like an old warrior.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
Greek hero.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. They
like that.
destroyed the sort of the multi-headed chimera, maybe a chimera. Maybe it was like Hercules,
Yeah.
Clitorides, and Agamemnon. The 3.
Big three.
And Agamemnon was a man in a boat. I think he was the guy in Homer's Odyssey. So and at the time that was the best way of getting from country to country, and so being a man in a boat.
Well, if you listen to our Atlantis episode, you would know that briefly in Atlanta, they had nuclear-powered airships that could seat 2 to 4 people. That was a million years ago, though. So that technology has gone away.
Much like a Toyota Echo, it was like cramped with 4, comfy with 2.
That's nice. Yeah.
3
Like you could.
was fine.
You could probably just have the back seats with a couple of sandwiches and stuff like
Yeah,
that to
yeah,
get you through that
exactly. A
long,
small
long
dog or
journey.
something.
Yeah. To eat lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good eating dog.
The clitoris has been poorly understood for a long time. A lot of men throughout history have wondered what it was, but not been able to put their finger on it.
Oh, that's good stuff.
A lot of articles have little jokes in them, and I thought I would try to put that kind of stuff in there.
Bit of fun.
So in 150 BC, physician Claudius Galen professed that the clitoris was the female body's failed attempt at a penis.
He professed that.
Failed attempt. Look at these weak little things. They can't
Fail.
even form penises.
So I assume that's
Please,
just-
peenies.
Peenies.
I mean, that implies, I suppose, that all humans should have penises, but women were not
Too
quite
weak.
able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Too
Hey,
weak and pathetic.
That's
Hey,
right.
they had a try.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Isn't it
nice.
cute when they try?
It was nice that you tried.
Nice little hills. Not like our big hills.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
bloody mountains.
Oh my God, some people say it's too big. Like everyone says that.
That's everybody is constantly saying that. Listen to me, I'm saying it, and I'm only. It's like I'm a parrot. I'm just repeating what they say.
I'm quoting other people right now.
It's all I know because I've just been raised to listening to people saying that. A 1486 guide to finding witches declared that that clitoral tissue on a woman was the indication of a witch. So if you found some clitoral tissue,
So if you had a clitoris, you're a witch?
I think so, unless it was that people had tissues for their clitoris.
Yeah.
Like, just
Very
like,
small tissues.
And what is this? Holding up a small
Nothing.
tissue.
Ignore that sound.
There's a lot of pollen in the area.
Yeah. Little pollen in my pants. Somebody's happy to sneeze it. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And this guide also called the clitoris the devil's teat, right? Which I find, for some reason in my mind, I'm picturing the devil has used teleportation technology to put his nipple or teat through that and then come out at the top of a woman's vulva.
Okay, I see.
For, I guess, so that people could put it in their mouths and then drink the devil's milk. I'm not sure. So that's just my picture of it.
The
Okay.
devil's teat.
You've painted a beautiful picture.
That's, yeah.
Thank you. When a French physician, Charles Etienne, dissected this organ, the clitoris, for the first time in 1545, he named it membre honteux, the shameful member, and declared its sole purpose to be urination.
To be urination.
Yeah, that's right. But this will be our first technical bit of information about the clitoris. It doesn't have a urethra
No.
in it.
Disappointing.
The urethra is
that's
beneath.
because it's a teat.
That's right. It's the devil's teat. It has a milk duct. The urethra is beneath the clitoris.
Yeah, the
in
clitoris is above that nonsense.
Exactly, way above.
I don't deal with urination. I'm above that.
And so as you see, I'm currently going through a bunch of people who've mistaken what the clitoris was over the centuries, right? In the 16th century, Italian anatomist.
How did he dissected it?
Yeah, he dissected
and he
it.
found that it was a pee hole.
He might have
without a hole.
Yeah, he might have dissected.
He put the hole in it probably. Went,
yeah.
Was that there already?
Pee comes out of that.
That's
pee.
where the pee
Oh my
comes
god,
out.
people pee out of this scalpel-sized hole. Interesting.
Weird. I mean, maybe it was just blood coming out of it, and he thought blood was pee.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
pee.
He was
That's
colorblind.
pee. That's pee.
And that's pee.
You know how like people think that like female ejaculate is pee? They think that any fluid that comes out of a woman's
Whoa.
vulva
Why?
is pee.
Or just even out of their eyes.
Even
Why are
out
you
of those-
pissing out of your eyes right now?
Yeah.
That's pee.
Ew.
Earwax.
Why is there
There's-
piss all over
Stop.
your face at
I
your
got
dad's
you
funeral?
Let
Stop
me get
pissing in
you
your
a
own face.
clitoris tissue.
Let me get you the latrine. What's that, a toilet? No.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I only know about clitorises. I don't know about anything else.
Another word for the toilet, of course, is the John. And we're saying John in each
Yeah.
episode of Block this year for some
The
reason.
theme for Block 2021, which we don't decide on the way in, the theme,
No.
it chooses us. And
Yeah.
this year it is John.
That's so good. I'm so glad we got to get it out early. I gave the female name for the toilet,
Yeah.
latrine.
Yes.
And you gave
Beautiful
the male
name.
name.
Beautiful name for a girl.
Well, I imagine-
Have you seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the woman's name's Latrine,
Yeah.
and he's like, beautiful name. She's like, it used to be Shithouse.
It's a good change. It's a good change.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's a
Yeah.
good change.
I remember at the end that Prince John got
John.
found out for whatever, and he said, John, forevermore your punishment will be that toilets are now
Yeah.
known as Johns.
Yeah.
And that, I didn't realize that was the original.
No, that was cool. I love a historical
Wow.
film. So the 16th century Italian anatomist Rialdo Colombo
Ooh.
claimed to have discovered the clitoris. He,
he
That is-
raised a flag.
Where's he
that's
from?
right. Hey, Italian. Yeah,
Isn't
the
that funny?
Europeans,
The Europeans love claiming things that were already
Let us cover
long
this.
discovered.
Discovered it. Prove you were here first.
Yeah, that's right. And so he pushed the native people off the First Nations people off of the clitoris and set up camp. But he described it as a certain small part which is elevated on the apex vaginae, above the foramen from which urine exits. So he knows it's above the urethra, right?
Okay.
And this, dearest reader, is that it is the principal seat of women's enjoyment in intercourse, so that if you not only rub it with your penis, but even touch it with your little finger, the pleasure causes their seed to flow forth in all directions, swifter than the wind.
This is a brag, not a science paper.
Yeah, even if they don't want to. I don't want to understand what he's talking about here. Since no one else has discerned these processes and their working, if it is permissible to give a name to things discovered by me, it should be called the love or sweetness of Venus. It cannot be said how much I am astonished by so many remarkable anatomists that they not even have detected it on account of so great advantage, this so beautiful thing formed by so great art.
Wow.
So basically, this guy fucks. That's what
Yeah.
that's what he's
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
us. He goes, "I fuck."
Dr. Fuck.
Yeah, Doctor Fuck, Rialdo Fuck. He's basically
When is this?
the 16th century. So
So
then
it
you got a
doesn't sound
minus one, 1500s.
It doesn't. He obviously didn't discover it, but in science, he was. In Western science, he was the first one to.
You know what?
Like all the other virgin scientists are like, no, it doesn't. I've never heard of that. Or,
Yeah, that's what he's trying to claim,
That's
but people
what-
have basically known about it since like the ancient
Right,
Greeks,
okay.
and that's basically, I think, where we've got most of our early writing from. So they probably knew about it before that.
So it's basically me writing a blog now, going, guys, you'll never believe what I found.
I just discovered the piss hole.
And it is awesome.
It's awesome. It is the center of pleasure for men. If you just touch it with your pinky finger, from which the wind will carry pleasure throughout your body, even if you don't want to.
You can try to resist the pleasure, but you cannot.
You cannot. If you just put A small pencil in it. Sorry. I don't know. I'm not sure.
That would be great if a scientist is like real niche fetish.
Yeah.
He thinks he's discovered the secret to coming, but it's because it's the only way he can come. You put a pencil, particularly sharpened,
All the way in.
all the way in.
Eraser. As
Eraser. I'm coining the phrase "eraser deep."
It should be almost impossible to get out again.
In fact, you should be able to ejaculate it out. That is where the real joy comes from.
And that is, I believe, how people can get an erect penis by putting a pencil inside of it.
Ejaculating a pencil out of their penis, then you will be rock hard. I'm sorry, that probably got too descriptive. But anyway, so
At
apparently...
what point, Al?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Come on, Al.
So apparently Rialdo was actually having a bit of a, let's see, he was feuding with Gabriel Fallopio.
Of tube fame?
Of the tube fame.
The Gabriel Tube.
Gabriel Tube. But apparently Fallopio actually didn't even call the Fallopians of tubes. He called them Fallopian tubas.
Tubas.
But I think that it was actually the Italian word, even though it's tubas. I think that might be the Italian word for trumpet because they kind of just come out to a horn. I think the tubes,
Right.
which are tubas.
Which they're called the
Trumpets.
fallopian horns.
Yeah,
the
that'd be
fallopian
way
horns. That's pinching sort of, I don't know, that area above the mom's pubis, whatever it is. Anyway, forget it.
I love what you think of as a horn as a clown horn. Honk, honk.
But they're feuding.
They're feuding, yeah,
They're
because I
feuding
think
over the clitoris?
I think he found this guy was throwing shade at him with this thing. It's like all other anatomists can't find it. They haven't got a clue. They don't know what it's all about. I do, right? So, but I don't know. Nobody wins in fights like in war, So,
So true.
So they moved on from that. Actually, no. I think, but Gabriel thought that he also found the clitoris.
I found it first.
The Dutch anatomist Reinier de Graaf did a comprehensive job of describing it in the 17th century, the clitoris, even discussing the crucial clitoral bulbs, right, which we don't know about yet. We don't know about this yet. So this is kind of a sneak peek. The clitoris may have bulbs.
Oh my goodness.
And
Like an onion, sort of.
Similar.
Buried below, or like a light
Yeah,
glow.
well, kind of like do onions grow underground?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you think of the woman's skin as the ground,
Yes.
then
I do.
the bulbs. I'm so sorry, Joyce. And I'm sorry to all female listeners, and I apologize. And please correct me at any point, and tell me to shut up at all points.
No. I will never do that.
Al, don't just be sorry to female listeners. You should be sorry to all listeners.
All listeners, thank you very
But
much.
also, they wanted this.
That's what. This is what you
It was
wanted.
the
More
second
than-
most
yeah.
voted for topic.
This is great. Thank you very much.
And you're the only scientist we know. Who else
I'm
would
not
we
even
get
a
to do this?
scientist.
You are a scientist.
You're
In
the
this
only
round.
engineer we know.
Yeah, the only close thing to a scientist that we know.
You're the closest.
You know Andy.
I know Andy, and he knows stuff about Newton.
Yeah.
I think you're also one of the few people who would be up for doing this.
Yeah.
Great, doing the thing about the clitoris. I
Yeah.
mean, this is.
I mean,
great.
I wouldn't. Personally, I'm like, wouldn't know where to begin. That was the penis one. We had it in the hat for so long.
Yeah.
Hot for cock or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
We-
Hot for cock. Hot for cot.
hot for cock. But yeah, we were like, be great to do it, but how the fuck would you do this? And then we asked you to, and you nailed it.
Yeah.
I love a bit of biological history because I'll be going into some biological history after this.
About
this
bloody
thing.
time.
Right now I'm going more into the
I
history.
really hope we hear about primordial soup.
Yeah.
How far back do you go?
I skipped to the soup because I feel like I did soup. I might have touched on soup in the penis.
Oh, it was a lot of soup.
A lot of soup-based stuff. It was basically.
Might have touched on the soup in the penis. Jesus
penis
Christ.
episode. Penis
So, Jess, you've got to
I
have
just
one to
call
get
that
it.
the penis.
Yeah, I don't get it,
You know, the
and that's not for me to say.
The Keen For Peen episode of Do Go On, I just call it the penis. That's what I think of as the penis. And my next episode about the penis will be about that episode. Anyway, so that Dutch guy
Oh, yeah, the bulbs.
described the clitoral bulbs. And in the 1840s, a German anatomist, George Cobalt, published an extensive account of female genitalia, their spongy tissues, muscles, and nerves, and blood supply, but he didn't connect all the internal bits as one structure. The clitoris, fed by one nerve complex and a blood supply.
Is that because he wasn't an engineer?
This could be. It could be that he didn't think like an engineer. An engineer would describe all bits as one clitoris, right? I don't know what's happening over there.
I'm like going, onions are bulbs, right?
Yeah, I looked over and I could see on Matt's computer he'd Googled onion.
They definitely are, because I'm like,
God.
I'm so paranoid about people going, like getting upset and annoyed and being frustrated through not being able to concentrate again. He called onions bulbs.
He means...
I can't listen anymore. I'm
meant-
so furious.
He meant tulips. Tulips come in bulbs.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So I
Just saw him Googling.
I
was
put
like, what's he
glasses
doing?
on. I'm tapping a pencil on my mouth. Onions. I'm going to Google onions.
And the answer is?
Yes. Onion bulb, a short modified underground stem surrounded by usually fleshy modified leaves that contain stored food for the shoot within. An onion bulb or a tulip bulb. Al.
Thank you.
You know your bulbs.
Yeah, no, I'm a big bulb guy. Yeah, that's why I chose this topic on the clitoris. So that was the 1840s. And then there wasn't really much more. And part of that is because of Sigmund Freud.
Oh.
Because in the early 1900s, he declared that clitoral orgasms were immature. It was like a childlike thing, and that vaginal orgasms were mature and womanlike. Right?
So a man decided that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh, you're still having clitoral orgasms? How immature.
Well, I-
Yeah.
It's
Child?
pretty much hack stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. And so he
I only date women who have vaginal.
exactly.
Question on a first
I'm
date.
single. Haven't been able to find one yet. And it's not me.
It's not me.
It's certainly not me.
It's them.
It's them.
And the vibe that I'm getting is that because he was just such a high profile guy with like such an authoritative voice on stuff,
I've heard of him.
like a lot of science was like, oh, we better not spend any time on that. Yeah, that seems like it's a childish pursuit or whatever. And so in 1948, the 25th edition of the seminal Grey's Anatomy, ever heard of it? Removed
like
the
19 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they had season 25 that early.
well, they removed the clitoris completely, even from their anatomical book.
Why?
A scientific, just because I guess they didn't feel like it was important.
Oh, because Freud said it was...
Maybe because of Freud.
But
It
can
all
they do
just
that?
kinda
Do they
seems-
do that with other things? They're like small toe. What's it do? Don't even draw it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
And when the clitoris did make a comeback in later editions, the only part you could see,
Don't call it a
the
comeback.
glands was there. it was a huge comeback.
So what would young doctor, like people training to be doctors would be using these books.
Mm-hmm.
What would they do when they would come across a clitoris on a patient?
Oh, oh, whoa.
A tumour.
You've
It's a
got
tumour.
some sort of cancerous growth there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a little nub.
Oh my God, your body's so gross.
Yeah, like this. Well, it's funny that you should mention that because it wasn't until a effin' legend known as Professor Helen O'Connell came along, right? And she is Australia's first female urological surgeon in Australia. Right?
Whoa,
So
cool.
Australia. But
Okay.
she I think graduated from that in about 1994.
Wow.
So 1994. And she was angered by a book. She was angered by Last's Anatomy, which was the book that she had to study for her exams, right? And in the 1985 edition, it had almost no mention of the clitoris and it had no illustrations, and yet there were 2 pages on the penis. But to top it off, aspects of female genitals were described as a failure of male genital formation.
In
So we're-
1994.
in 1980, yeah. So that was the 1985
Oh,
edition,
1984.
and I think that's what she was still studying.
Yeah.
And it was basically what some of the earliest men had said about the clitoris.
Right.
Was basically still opinion
What?
that
There was like
There
an
was
arrow,
also
arrow that said failed penis.
failed penis
There was also a chapter about how ribs were removed to create
to create Eve.
Eve. Yeah.
Yeah. But as we discovered in the Keen For Peen episode, that may have been the baculum that they, or baculus that they removed, the missing penis bone that made Eve.
Which badgers still have.
Which badgers still have, and most mammals, I think, still
So
have.
how did they make badger women?
Oh, good. Well, maybe there was just never a badger Eve.
Or
They just
maybe
had-
the badger's penis was massive and they just cut it in half.
Oh, good
They went,
point.
They just removed, like, like there's the bone leg and the thigh bone.
Yeah.
But then there's the knee, and then there's the other leg bone. That's probably what it is. They just removed the knee.
Yeah.
The penis knee.
The penis knee.
The penile knee.
Yeah, that's right.
The penile elbow.
That's why it doesn't bend.
Yeah. And that's how you get women badgers. Wee man.
That was common belief until 1985.
That's right. And so then Helen, who, by the way, I've discovered grew up in Preston, really close to where
Cool.
I live. And I don't know. There's just this thing, and you'll see why I like this lady so much. But
I know you're claiming really close to where you live, but I mean, it's really close to where we are now as well, Al. You don't
Yeah.
have to
I know.
take that for yourself.
Yeah.
hey, I'm like
We're all
Rialdo
close to
Colombo,
Helen.
and I just want people to know I live near people where people grow up who are cool, right? But then she also came across another book. A University of Melbourne social scientist showed it to her a few months after finally passing her surgical exam. Oh no, she passed her surgical exam in 1989, but I can't remember what happened in 1994. She maybe became a professor or something like that at that point. But it was called A New View of a Woman's Body, and it was published by the U.S. Federation of Feminist Women's Health Centers. And it was full of drawings of vulvas, and for the clitoris chapter, the researchers who wrote the book, the female researchers, took off their pants and basically compared themselves with illustrations in respected anatomy texts, and then they masturbated, observed each other, and took notes on the many parts of the internal and external clitoris that were changed by or contributed to sexual pleasure or orgasm, right?
Wow, wanking for science.
Yeah, well, Helen O'Connell found it really cool. And even though that this technically wasn't official science, it was like valid. It was more science than like scientists had done in thousands of years on the clitoris to try and learn more about it. So, and she noticed that in the book, these researchers had no access to dead bodies or dissection rooms, so they had to just rely on old anatomy texts. And that's when Helen realized she had access to dead bodies and dissection rooms at the University of Melbourne.
Oh, thank God.
Where she was...
I've got heaps.
Yeah.
I've got a basement.
And so where she was studying her Master's of Medicine in Women's Health. So she led the first comprehensive anatomical study of the clitoris.
Masturbating corpses.
and it was led by... I think for some reason, while you said that, I then pictured, I was like somebody said to Helen, they go, somebody's done a little bit of, done an episode of a podcast on your research.
Yeah. Sorry, Helen, if you are listening. Fantastic.
Excellent, amazing.
I want you to know that even if that did happen, I want you to know I think it's a valid way of doing it. You got to figure out if, a dead clitoris still stimulates. It's science. That is science. It's
Yeah. Well, otherwise, we still wouldn't know.
Well, that's right. And so...
and we know, right?
And now we know. And now we know.
The clitoris dies with the body.
Yes. I think
We were
know.
worried that it was still centaur. What's the...
Sentient.
Sentient.
Senile. It's lost its mind.
Along the
Well,
way...
it's lost its brain.
Along the way in the research for this, I came across some stuff. One, and I think that this is false, and I would say 95% sure that this is false. But someone claimed the clitoris does not age. Right? And
Well, that's because there's a picture of it in the attic.
That's right. That is, of course, getting really old.
Yeah, real haggard.
Do not go up there.
So wrinkly.
This is like this ain't your grandma's clitoris. It's up in the air. I don't know what that was trying to say then.
This ain't your grandma's clitoris. No one said that before. No. Anyway, again, thanks so much for listening, Dr. Helen.
Dr. Helen O'Connell. So the first comprehensive anatomical study of the clitoris and was published in 1998. And so that was the first time that people got an actual clear view of how big 1998 how big and how deep this really goes.
Wow, they had to wait for Windows 98 before they were able to compute.
And then she did another study in 2005 and examined it under MRIs in living people.
Wow.
Living women, right? So she found that modern medical science was mistaken about the clitoris. The small button or glans that you can see is just the
tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
Al pointed to me.
So she found...
I didn't just butt in.
So she found that the organ actually looks like this, right? So here's a couple of models of it, right? So we have the glans clitoris here, which is the bit that is exposed.
Is that made of plasticine?
I've seen some of people wear them as like necklaces and earrings.
Well, some of these are now just available on Etsy. You can just click, search for clitoris and anatomical, and you will find all sorts of stuff. I think a bunch of different companies just sell them so that people can, or even I think there's files that are like for 3D printers, and you can they just go, hey, make this at home.
And so this was it was only known in the last 30 years.
In the last 23 4 years.
That's amazing. And Dr. O'Connell was still part of this research?
This was all her.
This was all her?
This was all her. Like, literally, she was just frustrated. She was like, Jesus, I can't believe this is missing. I better just
Jess
go.
talks about it sometimes that whenever we get into a report and there's some vague mention of Australia or in Melbourne, we're like, holy shit, this is wild. Did you know that? A Melbourneian scientist?
That's massive.
This lady... she's also this is actually just
was
something
she Australian of the year that year?
This year I think she got an Order of Australia.
Wow.
Is she on the $20 bill?
She should be. She should be. Or just like the tip of her nose, and they go. There's actually more of her on the other side, and then on the other side you see the other bit where she's just sticking her face through the.
That's very good.
But she's the director of surgery and head of urology at Western Health, just like a hospital in the west of Melbourne. Like she's working now. She's only like in her late 50s or something.
Whoa.
And like I'm hoping that I get some kind of urethral obstruction just so I can meet her.
Yeah, right? I hope that for you. I hope that for you.
She's a surgeon.
Like a pencil, a sharpened pencil, maybe.
Like this is just stuff she does on the side, basically. Yeah. And she, like most of the time, she just spends like unclogging people's urethras and like doing like fine little. Like she's busy. She ain't got time for this. She ain't got time to listen to this. That's why I think we're safe.
Yeah.
Right?
She's been
playing in the surgery.
She's playing it in the surgery. That's
and
what
also like there'd be so many podcasts out about her. After you've listened to 100, you're like, I'm over it.
Exactly. And probably a lot of them have her interviewed on it.
Yeah. That's true too.
They can probably go like, we'll just call her.
Yeah, but she's heard those ones.
Exactly.
She hasn't heard this one.
She wants to hear 3 straight white dudes talk about
That's
it.
right. And a woman. Don't consider yourself a white dude.
Thank you so much.
I think she did consider herself nothing at all there. She
didn't even.
Yeah, I'm not here.
You deserve better than that.
Thank you.
The most important relationship is the one with the voice inside your head. And you got to let it know that you are alive and exist.
And I'm here in this room.
So let's try and describe what the clitoris looks like.
He's just talking over me. Yeah, that'd be right. When a feminist talks, he just talks right over me.
Sorry, I was just trying to... I realized that I've maybe made this episode too long.
He was trying to go on.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
No?
You can't make it too long.
No, sorry.
No, we did. What was the episode recently? Atlantis last week was about, or 2 weeks ago was like...
Almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
So you're fine.
Great.
You're okay.
Thank goodness.
And you're doing great.
How would you describe... I mean, look, this is how I would do my first attempt at trying to describe the clitoris. I would say it's like the middle bit of the 3-prong bit of the Mercedes-Benz logo.
Yeah.
So like, let's say somebody badged your car. It's a Mercedes-Benz.
Yep.
Then they take the circle bit out and you've got those 3 prongs. It's 1 at the top and 2 down the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Like that?
Yep.
And then you bend the top bit down and create kind of like a little bird beak.
Yep.
Right? And that's where the clitoris, that's the bit that comes out.
Yep.
Of the,
so you see the beak.
You see the beak.
See the beak.
That's the devil's tip.
And then on the inside,
there's
there's these long things, those 2 long prongs. They're called the crura. And then underneath, there's just like two big sacs, two bulbs, right, which are known as the bulbs. They also have another name.
Al leaned in to read that.
Yeah.
Just to confirm.
Just checking my notes here. Bulbs.
Some of these. Wait, one of these isn't labeled properly. But look, but then you can also see. I would also say it kind of looks like a futuristic supersonic plane.
Yeah.
But due to the maybe what we've done to the environment, that has to carry big bags of water underneath it at all times to put out all the fires from the climate change.
It looks, as an engineer, would that work as a building or a tent or something? Would that be structurally sound?
Structurally sound?
If you put a canopy over the top of it?
Yeah, maybe if you had two clitorises interlocked.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And you get a triangle.
If you sort of scissored two together somehow.
Yeah, if you scissored two clitorises together, you could maybe just sort of get shelter underneath it. Right. If you maybe put like a clitoral hood over the top.
Yeah.
Maybe multiples.
To me, it looks like it would be able to, 1, float, and 2, swim quite well.
Yeah,
it's like the Muhammad Ali of genitals.
That's right. I would say that.
Floats like a butterfly.
Yeah, and
swims like a bee.
Swims like a
bee. Sort of floating on the top.
Yeah. You got to help it. You got to help it out, and then it's got to spend time drying itself.
It dies anyway. Yeah. But you felt like you did the right thing.
But you can see here, so this here is actually like the vaginal hole.
That one was for me. I know the bee. Honestly, I've probably prolonged your pain, but I feel better. And in the end, isn't that the main thing?
What you should have done is just picked up more water in your hand, cupped more water, and put it straight on top.
Or got a tiny little pillow.
Hey,
sorry.
Set up a little hospice.
It's okay.
A little hospice scenario. Send in a priest. I'm not religious. The bee would say. Sorry, we're forcing a priest on you.
Amazing last
Just
words.
in case.
Last words of a bee. I'm not religious.
That's how it croaks with a buzz.
Yeah. As its sort of those weird eyes roll into the back of its head. I don't know if you can see that. But you can see here, look, so this is the thing. This is the urethra. But then you can see like on the inside here, this is the vaginal hole, right? So the walls of the vaginal hole are basically lined with these huge bulbs. Right?
Okay.
So any pleasure that is experienced on the inside is actually through access to the clitoris.
Cop that, Freud. You
Yes,
fraud.
stupid idiot. All orgasms are clitoral.
They're all mature.
Clitoral. They're all mature orgasms. No, they're all immature orgasms. Yes. Oh, yes. I know. I have a lot of very mature orgasms. Yes, I know.
They're old and dusty.
They've got subtitles.
There's no dialogue.
I do it into a book. I tip my hat at the end. I put my monocle back on. Yeah, and so but most of the nerve endings are on the glans clitoris. It has something like 3 to 5 times more nerve endings than the penis.
Cop that. So really, a penis is a failed clitoris.
In many ways, it's not achieved the heights.
Dave, you don't have to put penises down to lift clitorises up, mate.
But you can.
You can.
Physically,
you don't.
can.
Yeah.
You can do.
Yeah.
You certainly can.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you put down enough clitorises, then you could lift a penis up with it. Forget it. Okay.
I'll try.
So like I've basically just explained, under the pubic bone, the organ looks like a wishbone with a body of up to 4 centimeters long. Coming out of it are kind of legs or crura, up to 9 centimeters long, and also these kind of bulbs that are about 7 centimeters long.
If someone wanted to just quickly Google, I imagine a lot of people already have, but what would be the search term you put in to Google that diagram?
If you just if
clitoris.
you write clitoris real shape or clitoris anatomical, I think I tried to type in just before when I was in the car trying to finish this off. I typed in
while driving,
just in the parking lot.
Okay.
I did write in clitoris real, and all shots were just of vaginas.
I want to see
like
the scenario where you're driving and researching clitoris, and a police officer pulls you over, and you have to explain that. Why have you got books open? There's an Encyclopedia Britannica
I
open on
think
your lap.
chances are that officer would learn something.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And that, whatever the fine was, I could deduct uni fees from that, from his uni fees from that. And so all of these are sensitive areas that are made of spongy tissue and become erect, just like the penis. So they're erectile tissues that fill with blood and just plump up. And
honestly, this is a classic man scientist. Everything's through the lens of the penis.
This is quite no, but seriously, there's a lot when you're reading about this. They keep using this word. It's the homologue of the penis. I think homologue was the word they use. It's homologous to the penis, right? And it's basically saying it has the same position.
Homologue's not a bad euphemism for a penis.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The homologue. Because would be man from the French or the Latin, and log would be wood, like lumber.
Yeah.
From the trees.
Yeah.
From the trees. That's their word. That's their word. So O'Connell's discovery was important for really practical reasons, right? It gave surgeons a map of key nerves, blood vessels, and connecting parts of the clitoris, so they could try to avoid destroying sexual sensitivity during any pelvic area operation. 1998. So people have just been scalpels in, things like that, right?
Fucking
just not knowing that there's just stuff going on in there. This is so it's basically what she's done is create dial before you dig. You know that? It's I'm about to use a jackhammer in my front lawn. Is there any pipes or anything under there that I should check? And then they send you a map of the pipes, and then you go, oh yeah, I shouldn't stick a scalpel in this part of the garden.
Is dial before you dig? That's got to be an international thing.
And
right?
if it
I don't know if it is, but yeah,
what are you missing out on?
That's why I attempted to describe it in a sort of brief terms to give people context.
Surely it is.
Yeah, you need something like that, right? Before
a little stud finder.
Little stud finder, but for sort of water mains.
Yes.
I was visiting my folks the other day, first time in ages, back to the old childhood home, and I had this flashback to when I locked myself out when the family was away one time. And I tried to break in with a chisel, trying to wrench open a window, which I couldn't do. And in frustration, I threw the chisel down. It was one of those chisels that had a sharp point at one end into the ground.
You describe
and
a chisel?
Burst a water pipe.
Holy crap!
The odds of that, a small copper pipe.
Wow!
I just threw it down, and the water spurted out. I'm like, what has happened?
Were you I found a well.
Liquid gold.
So, I need to know.
Gold. Water.
Apparently that pipe hadn't been buried as deep as it should have been.
And what did you do? Did you have to turn the water off and then...
Honestly, it turned out to be an awful... not really, but I walked to my nana's place, which was about a half an hour walk away, and she was in the garden... And I'm in my pajamas, being locked out. I walk up. She's guarding in the front yard. So I'm there to go, I need to call a plumber or whatever. I get there. And she goes, Matt, you remembered my birthday.
Oh. No. And you were so excited to see me. I bet that you walked here in your pajamas.
Yes. Yes, Nana. Happy birthday.
Can I use the phone?
Oh, and then how long did you have to have? You had a full Devonshire tea.
Yeah.
And then finally told her. The house is flooding.
Yeah.
But Nana's happy.
We gotta save Nana's feelings.
You call up. You explain to your parents, they're like, you've done the right thing for Nana. And then
that's incredible.
Were you able to fix the pipe?
Yeah.
Before your parents got home, did you cover it up?
Yeah, eventually, called a plumber. I obviously at some point found a way to work it into the conversation. And Nana recommended a plumber and we got it fixed. But
that is so great.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Matt, you remembered my birthday. How old were you?
I would have been 16 or something like that.
So I'm imagining, it's daytime. Nana's in the garden, but you're in your pajamas, so it's got to be early afternoon or something. Knowing how you love a sleep in.
Oh, I bought those for you for Christmas. I thought you'd wear them as pajamas, but that's all right.
That's pretty cool streetwear.
I love
That's
grandmas
fa-
that
How
use
did you
the
get
word
locked out? I don't mind it.
streetwear.
Streetwear.
My grandma says streetwear. What do you reckon? That's just pretty cool. Anyway, she's in a relationship, so forget about it. I know what you're thinking. Forget about it.
Can't date my nana.
She's taken.
Hey, while we're just having a quick break from the report,
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be cool to tell the listeners about an epic thing you did this week
Was it
or
epic?
last week. I thought it was quite epic, and Dave, Jess, and I were
It
involved
was.
as well.
Yeah, we. I'm a part of a podcast called Two in the Think Tank, where we come up with sketch ideas. It seems like it's a niche idea, but it's itself a niche idea. But then we come up with even more niche ideas.
And it's
right?
you and Andy Matthews, a famous scientist.
Famous scientist,
And he's done a couple of reports on this show about Matthew Brady, the gentleman bushranger, which
Yes.
I imagine Jess would remember that one.
Very well.
and the Isaac Newton episode.
That's
Yeah.
right.
In which, this was a couple of years ago, you all had a nice, funny conversation about Isaac Newton's 2 lost years during the Great Plague.
Oh,
And you're like, and I suppose, suppose there's this kind of thing where, everything gets very plaguey, and you just kind of you stay in your house a bunch and things like that, and you all laugh like, those olden days were so hilarious, like that. And, it was
Imagine losing 2 years of your life.
Imagine
oh,
that.
gosh.
This is, and every one of those years still counts towards your age.
Yeah.
How crazy!
That's so unfair.
They're free, couple of freebies, or
I think it should be freebies.
do you think of them as freebies?
I think
or
they should be. They should be deducted off.
Chuck
of
'em at the end.
total. Yeah. So any plague years, you just go. You remove them, and that
Yeah.
way you get your accountant to do your age, basically.
yeah.
Does that? I mean, as this works, does that mean you're on your deathbed, you're dying, you're in horrible pain, you get 2 more years of that?
That's right. That's right. They
don't know
they
if that's a
tack them
great
onto the end. And you go,
Anyway, so with Andy,
oh
you
yeah.
do-
Sorry, we did. So we did our 300th episode. Now every 100 episodes we celebrate by challenging ourselves. And usually on a regular episode we come up with 5 sketch ideas, but on the 100th episode we came up with 100 ideas, right? And that took 11 hours to do. Then we did the 200th episode, and that took 16 and a half hours, right? And so that was already a huge, and we got guests on and things like that. And then we had the third one, which was 300 episodes. We had to come up with 300 sketch ideas, and somehow we managed to do it in 18 and a half hours,
Oof.
right? So you were all involved. That was only a couple days ago. There's a YouTube clip of it on a stupid old channel.
The whole thing.
There's also it on my Alasdair TB Twitch stream. That's also there if that's your favorite way of getting videos. And then it's also going to be on our Two in the Think Tank
Podcast.
Your podcast.
if we can manage to upload the file.
I watched before I came on, and I was on, and then I watched quite a few hours of it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, as you were counting down towards the end, I'm like, I've got to watch till the end now. You finished, you got your 300th, and then you said, and now to recap the 3, and you talked for another 45 minutes. I'm like on the couch with my eyes sort of like.
We have to read through the 300 sketch
I
ideas.
was watching and I thought you were joking when you said, now to
know.
read them through. I went, good one. He's going to read out
know.
the 300 sketches. And then you're like, number 1, blah, 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 number 2. And I'm like, oh, he's doing it.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was like, I mean, it's very funny to hear them all condensed down to that one line
yeah.
pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it kind of makes you feel, because I mean, during the episode, I'm going like, oh boy, this is slow. This is slow, and I don't know if anybody could possibly enjoy this. But then when you read them back, you kind of go, there's some stuff in there that could be used as potential comedy.
So yeah, how much of that ends up forming your next festival show with Andy, do you think?
It depends. It's like, look, it all just goes in a big pile.
Yeah.
And then we use them every now and then. We think we go, oh, well, like next year's comedy festival, we're doing a show. It's kind of a lawyer-based show. It's like a courtroom-based show. And so any ideas that we've come up with over the last 7-8 years or whatever, we can just go, what court cases have we come up with, sketch ideas, and then we can just use it. Sometimes it becomes one line, or sometimes it becomes like, a 5-10 minute bit.
That's sick.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool. So yeah, there'll be a link in the show notes where people can watch that, or if you want to listen to it and the whole back catalogue of podcasts. Obviously, there's 300 of them now.
Some people have, there's like 312 because it was going to happen in August, but then that
that's
lockdown
right,
6 happened, and then we were like, oh boy, and we were very happy to delay it. But yeah, thanks very much for
I should say, while we're plugging things, I lived out some sort of a dream this week. I've got a little cameo on Damien Cowell's new song, the singer from Tism, Humphrey B. Flaubert. I sing a few verses on the new song, Hamster Grammar Rocks Your Party.
It's very cool.
Yeah, so I
That's
can't believe it.
awesome.
So I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. It's like part of a web series. He's animated the whole series himself as well. It's released weekly. But the song in it starts about 2 minutes in. But I'm pointing downwards. I'll put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah. But then now you just need to let Gary Ablett play in one of his family games of football, right? And then all your dreams come true.
Gary Ablett.
Yeah, no, not Gary Ablett. The one that you like.
Frankie Peckett.
Yeah, Frankie Peckett. All right.
But you wouldn't say no
Plugger
to
Lockett.
Hey, Plugger.
You
Plugger,
wouldn't
Lockett.
say no
That's
to
it.
a game of kick to kick with Gary Ablett, though.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I don't think so.
But it wouldn't be a dream come true.
No. Well, I don't know. There's definitely...
Gary Ablett Jr.
Yeah, I think he might be a better person.
That's what It's you, Piggy in the middle, the two Gary Abletts, and then they're kicking it over your head, and you're going, "Oh, stop!
Gary!
One of you is really mean, I think."
Yeah, I mean, being between two Garys now, that's a dream. That's whether they're Ablets or not.
Absolutely. All right.
Anyway, we should get back into this report.
this
Because I tell you
clitoris
what,
thing.
I'm absolutely lit for clit right now.
Yeah. Great. Are you guys everybody lit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty lit.
Great. Well, let's go to the formation of the clitoris in utero, right?
So we're not going back to the soup, but we are going back to the womb.
Well, we are going to go back even further later, but I just wanted to kind of do a bit more of this because I feel like it's important to get a good clitoral context.
I think so. This is kind of like, that's me. You're
Yeah.
probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing that in about 3 different chunks like
Right.
that, right? So now all babies, regardless of whether they are going to become a boy or a girl, they begin development in the womb with a tiny little bulge called a genital tubercle. A genital tubercle. Which
Okay.
tubercle sounds like what you would get if you combine my last names, Tremblay and Birchall.
Yes.
That would be, for efficiency, we should start calling you Alasdair Tremblay-Birchall.
Yeah, Alasdair tubercle.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I like it better.
Yeah, well, because I've always thought, I was like, if I was going to combine, would it be like Alasdair Burley?
Oh, that's pretty good too.
Oh, fuck,
Lounge
that's good,
singer
actually.
Alasdair Burley.
Alasdair Burley. Alasdair Tromchall.
Okay, so that one's bottom of the list for me.
Yeah, Alasdair Tromchall.
But no bad ideas. Hello, I'm Alasdair Tremblay-Birchall.
Alasdair Tromchall, and I'm here to fuck.
As opposed to, hi, I'm Alasdair Burley, and I'm here to fuck.
That's right, and I'm here to fuck.
You're always here to fuck.
Oh, yeah, always good to fuck.
No matter what. Except for Alasdair Tremblay-Birchall. Alistair's just here to discuss
He's here to-
options on what we can do.
Here to learn.
And none of those are fucking. I apologize. I'm swearing so much. So that's... So
Sorry, Dr. O'Connell, if you're still listening.
At like 10, 11 weeks, basically, all fetuses have the same nub, right? They have the exact same nub, right? It's kind of like, it's a bit folded, right? It kind of folds around it. You could almost see something that kind of looks a little labia majora-ish around it, but it's kind of just like mostly like this, and there's kind of like an underlying little kind of like gap like that. But anyway, it's just a nub. Right? But then if the developing fetus is going to become a male, the fetal testes will produce a male hormone like testosterone, and the genital tubercle will develop into a penis. If, on the other hand, it's going to become a female, the fetal ovary will not produce any hormones, and instead the genital tubercle will develop into the clitoris. So it's the same thing turning into a penis and a clitoris. But that makes me think that if you don't add anything to it and it becomes a clitoris, then we should always be saying that the penis is a homologue of the clitoris, which feels like it's the default.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we get, next time one of you says the clitoris or the penis is a homologue of one or the other,
Yeah.
let's get it right.
Yeah.
Please.
Because I'm hearing people say it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in the world that I'm in, which is in the world of rapidly trying to research the clitoris
And science.
over a couple of days, and science, my connection to Andy, you do see it a lot on web pages and things like
Right.
that on facts about the clitoris. Right?
The wrong way around.
Hey, I see it the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's
And they keep saying, "Oh, it's a homologue of the penis," like that. It's like stop trying to contextualize it via the penis for me. And I only say that because we don't try and contextualize the penis via the clitoris. You go, if you want to get some context on the penis, just think of it as like a homolog of the clit.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so now since the penis and the clitoris both develop from the same structure, they share many similarities. The clitoris has a hood in humans, right? And this is the same as the foreskin in males. And the clitoris has glands, which is the same structure as the head of the penis. And both the penis and the clitoris become engorged with blood when stimulated, and both structures are full of nerves, which, at least in humans, provide a pleasurable sensation when stimulated. Now, this is another thing I've noticed, is that scientists they're very careful. They don't want to just say that all animals' clitorises cause pleasure. They're like, I don't want to,
I don't want to speak for giraffes.
I don't want to speak for giraffes.
We haven't asked bats.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not one to speak for marmots, but the clitoris may or may not cause...
I mean, they only discovered like the human stuff in 1998.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been enough time to catalogue all
Give
the
them
beasts.
a chance.
Yeah, exactly. But I have discovered that all mammals have clitorises.
Right.
Female mammals. Now, though both organs function to transmit and receive sexual sensation, the penis contains the urethra, which provides the means for expelling sperm and urine from the body, which we learned in the Keen For
Sperm
Peen.
and what?
Sperm and urine from the body.
I thought you said urim. Man, it
Urim.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I probably should have been able to piece that together.
That's what we call it back where I'm from.
Sperm and urine.
I'm going to go expel some urine.
I just thought there was, because no one else flinched on it, I'm like, there's another fluid? I thought like sperm came out with anyway, whatever.
The third
You don't need to
fluid.
know what those 2 seconds, what my brain did there. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Everything I've known is a lie.
Europe?
Urim.
Of course.
Sperm and urim.
Pee, sperm, and urine, which is urine sperm. That's the mixture of the two.
That's not good.
Yeah.
I've been listening again to Alan Partridge's autobiography.
Yeah.
And he meets his first wife. They connect because he says, I've always thought that there should be a third caffeinated drink. Why is tea and coffee got it all? And he goes, well, what am I doing? I've had this idea for 10 years and no one's ever agreed with me. Why am I saying this to her? And he said, but she agreed. And they sort of hit it off after that.
And what about Coke?
Yeah.
Coke's kind of a caffeinated drink.
Might have been hot caffeinated.
Yeah,
drink,
you're right. I apologize. I'm so
But
sorry.
then he said he went for...
Coke. Ugh.
He suggested that there should be a third standard condiment apart from salt and pepper. And he said, but I lost her at that point.
What would it be? Paprika?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
paprika.
Yeah, or nutmeg or cinnamon.
Chicken
Pa-
salt.
If you get a certain Italian restaurants, you'll get Parmesan.
Yeah, Parmesan.
Yeah.
That's right. That dry, long life cheese. But the clitoris's only known function is to give sexual pleasure to a woman. Doesn't push out any urine. It contains 2 to 3 times as many nerve endings as the penis, so we already know this. Okay, so where does the clit come from? You don't mind me calling it clit right now, do you?
Yeah, I'm
You
lit.
know-
Not at all.
Okay.
What's that mean? It's in the episode title as that.
I know. I'm just checking in.
Wait,
you know?
otherwise it's, what is it? Literus?
Consent is an ongoing thing. All right. So if at some point it kind of becomes too yucky,
Yep.
We could call this episode literature for the cliterature.
That's a great idea.
Is it?
That classes it
yeah.
up a bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a more of a mature orgasm.
More sure orgasm. So now this is where it's going to get technical for a little bit, and I know in the first episode I got real technical really early on, and Matt's face scrunched up. But it'll get technical for just a little bit with this one, okay? Because I'm going as close to the soup as I can get with this. Okay. So the beginning of the clitoris starts when we evolved the sexes for having sex, right? So at some point there were no sexes at all, right? Humans have 2 sexes for making babies. Some organisms have more, 100 for some pond swimming protozoans, and mushrooms use 30,000 and can mate with any of them but their own.
Wow, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's what a great fact.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
God, we're so
How
basic.
imagine you
Basic.
fall in love You got a 1 in 30,000 chance of falling in love with a mushroom you can't have a kid with.
I know. Isn't
Which
that
is,
crazy?
I'm
That's
sure there's other
fine.
options.
That's fine
Yeah.
because some mushrooms will just choose not to have kids.
And
That's
that's
true
okay,
too.
Yeah,
And
that's a
fine.
valid choice.
Well, you can actually live a very full life, very happy, and it's actually probably going to be a bit easier, except for having that conversation.
You don't have to
with
wait
people.
for your
Why don't you
50s or
have kids? Oh, shut
60s to travel.
Yeah,
You can do that throughout your life.
absolutely, and you won't have to pay for 2 or 3 extra, plane tickets. Anyway, but before any of that, the first thing you could call a kind of sexual intercourse occurred between two things that were neither male nor female. These things would mix sex cells of the same size. Right now, the reason why I say that is because the difference between males and females is that males produce a small sex cell, the sperm or pollen, right, and females, their female counterparts, produce big ones like eggs, right? Now, basically, the theory goes, and I'm trying to tell you the origin of sexes here. The theory goes that inside each of our cells, we have a little thing called mitochondria, which is like a little bit of machinery that helps convert food into energy, right? And that happened a long time ago. A single-celled had basically a small, friendly, parasitic bacteria that came in and started living in a symbiotic relationships with cells, right? And they propagate as our cells divide, and in animals pass from mothers to their offspring through eggs, right? And while they seem to be working for us, these mitochondria, they have actually no reason why they need to continue to do so, because they can carry their own DNA and they can mutate if they breed, right? So they could, in theory, get a new strain of mitochondria that's very good at replicating, but not very good for humans. And one way to prevent such a spread is to avoid mixing mitochondria when you have sex, which is basically starving them of a partner. And the way that we do that is, the way to avoid that is that males simply shed most of their mitochondria when they make sperm, so that you only get mitochondria from your mother through the egg, right? So I know this is very complicated, but basically I'm saying if the mitochondria inside the cells interbred, then they could potentially become a new organism that isn't good for living, for the big living organism, a human or a badger or whatever. But we've avoided that
The big two.
by creating sexes that have different sized sex cells, and the sperm doesn't carry the mitochondria; it just basically sheds it. Or sheds most of it and then interbreeds.
Wow.
And then so that means that your mitochondria is, I think, basically the same as going through your mother line. If you follow through the mother line, you can go all the way. It'll be the DNA that goes all the way back to the first woman.
Whoa.
I believe.
That's amazing.
I think. I'm not 100% sure.
See?
Is that why some religions it passes on through the mother's side? Is that right?
Maybe Judaism?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if that's based on that.
Mitochondrial DNA, maybe. And so that's why we have sexes. Anyway, if you were ever wondering. That's why we don't just go like that and split into two and just have a copy of ourselves or whatever like that.
That would be good.
I mean, it'd be cool, but
You'd skip the toddler stage,
Yeah, that's right. You would only make, I guess, increasingly old versions of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I need a friend, a partner. A
Yeah.
kid.
Oh, I've double booked myself.
You rock up to a tennis court or something, you're like, oh, it's doubles day.
Yeah.
That would be useful.
That would be handy.
Okay, so
But then your double splits off and says, we're friends now.
Yeah. Oh, so we don't like you, Mum.
Oh my God, brutal. Kids can be so brutal.
Oh shit, my kids are they're getting to that age.
My age.
So where in nature do we find clitorides? Right? Well,
Where do we last leave our hero?
some scientists suspect that orgasms originated 150 million years ago. Right? Now, I think that's when they found the first fossilized O face. That's a joke. I don't know how they actually know that the first orgasms may have originated 150 million years ago.
Can you just, for me and anyone like me, explain what that means?
What
What's an O face?
An O face. I think it's supposed to be the face that somebody
Oh,
makes while
I
they're
mean,
organ.
if you have-
While they're
If you
orgasming.
have to ask.
No, I fell for a trap.
You have to ask.
And
That
so-
tells us everything we need to know.
O face.
O face.
Oh, I call it something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, mine's actually so good I call it O week.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, my person. You know, when I cause orgasms another person, their face contorts so much and it becomes an M face. That's what their mouth. Oh, fuck! That's an F face. That's their mouth makes an M shape.
And that happened right as like Mount Vesuvius was erupting on you, and then you're stuck like that forever.
That's
someone
right, and that was
someone digs you up. Oh, hello. Died doing what he loved.
M face.
Emming.
Other people. Yeah, like I said, all female mammals have a clitoris. The clitoris also exists in turtles, ostriches, crocodiles, and in bird species where the male has a penis. A lot of birds have cloacas, and so they have what's known as cloacal kisses in order to procreate like that. Yeah, but think of that coming from the butt. I am a butt that has a hole that. First of all, cloacas are my favorite thing, and maybe
I was
going to
say I hadn't heard of cloacas before you told me about them, and you're the only person I ever hear talking about cloacas.
Well, you'll find out about it when I come back for the third episode in this series, Wacka for Cloacas.
Oh, I think the campaign starts now.
While not a ton is known about animal clitorides, we know that they can be hugely varied. Most clitorises or clitorides, I don't know, in animals are inside the vagina. That there'll be more on that later. That's quite interesting. Recent studies have found that dolphins have large and well-developed clitorises, which makes scientists believe that sex may be pleasurable for female dolphins through clitoral stimulation.
Right? Yeah, I've heard that for a long time. That they're the only other animal that bones for fun.
They do it for fun, yeah. And they think that perhaps I'll skip to here, but there is a thing here that they think that. Oh, no, I can't skip ahead because I just it's a mess. But we'll talk about that a bit more later. Female hyenas have unbelievably huge clitorises. Like they have.
I see it, but I don't believe it.
Half-foot-long clitorises.
What?
That look basically exactly like penises.
So I'm picturing half a sub. A Subway sub.
Exactly.
6-inch sub.
You're seeing a meatball sub.
Holy
because
shit.
they actually look. They
that's
look
a big clit.
They appear. They also look with what appears to be testicles, or testicles. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Which is the other Greek hero. Which actually what looks like testicles is actually their folded labia, and they're folded and fused labias. They also get erections. And they also give birth through their enormous clitoris.
What?
They also give birth through their enormous clitoris. Apparently, they give birth to 2-pound pups. And there's a high rate of unfortunate in first-time mothers tearing and them dying because it's a lot of pup to push through.
I did not remember David Attenborough telling me about this.
Clitoris.
No. The Lion King didn't go into this either.
Yeah.
It's so great they can laugh about it afterwards.
Do you know hyenas? I don't know if it's all hyenas, but spotted hyenas are a matriarchal society, and
is that true?
The females are like the big aggressive ones, right? And it might be. I don't know if it's linked to the size of their clitoris, but when mating, the female will retract the penis-like clitoris, like pushing up a shirt sleeve, I imagine that it kind of bunches up, and then slides up into kind of what is like just a sort of a, it's creating a sort of something that is a bit more opening-like rather than a sleeve, which the male inserts his own penis, which they think. This is the kind of weird, crazy thing. A lot of these aggressive matriarchal moms have a lot of kind of testosterone-y. I think they're called androgens. Yeah. Those kind of males. Is that what they're called? Androgens. And the really tough ones, like pass on a lot, pour in a lot of like androgens into their young, and apparently that is important for them, for their babies, because it makes them more aggressive and when they live in like packs of like 60 or 80 hyenas and you're fighting over food, that gives you a huge advantage to be hugely aggressive like that. And it makes them more likely to try at a younger age to have sex with females, which apparently they need a lot of practice at, because the female genital is so insane that you just need a lot of practice to just be able to get it in.
Whoa.
Yeah, right.
So these ones are more likely to be, I think, successful because they come from like real aggressive moms and they get all this stuff.
Whoa.
This is, just kind of, anyway, real crazy.
I was just thinking, in The Lion King, isn't the Whoopi Goldberg hyena the head of the pack?
Maybe, yeah.
So that's interesting. So they got that right, that it was sort of a matriarchal.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Elton John wrote that movie, right?
Yeah. Elton John and Tim Curry Rice.
Tim Curry, Tim Rice.
Tim Curry, Tim Rice.
Tim
I forget
Curry
which
and
part of the dish. Which part of the dish wrote
They
that
work
one.
so well together.
Yeah.
And Tim Yogurt actually is.
Yeah.
He added a little something.
Tim Mango Lassie.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got that right, but the wise monkey is incorrect.
Yeah, right. Well, monkeys aren't wise.
No, I'm trying to think of the character's name.
Rafiki,
yeah. So it's just not anatomically correct.
right.
It's got a tail when it shouldn't, or vice versa. And it's
It's supposed to be a mandrill.
it's meant to be a mandrill.
They're pretty bulky.
And mandrills at like not long before that, maybe 5 years before that, mandrills were discovered to be a separate species. Before that, they were sort of all in under baboons.
Yeah, right.
And I think the Disney animators were using old information.
That's so
And
embarrassing.
they kind of merged two animals together.
It's like, do your research.
Do some research.
Hopefully they listen to this before they bloody make a Lion King 2.
Well, they fixed it up, I believe, for the live action one.
Yeah.
I believe they fixed
that's
it up.
good.
How,
That's good.
how
Thank
funny
God
to
for
think
that.
that man or humans discovered the mandrill before they discovered the clitoris.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's got
It
man
got
in
man
it.
in it, yeah.
Scientists were interested. Oh, our
We've
ears
got to
pricked up a
figure out
little
this
here.
mandrill.
No.
Sounds kind of badass.
So here is another thing. Many animals have bones in their clitoris. Like I mentioned in the penis episode, most mammals have a baculum. Well, this...
Stop using the penis episode as a tree trunk or whatever.
I know, I'm sorry.
What was it?
I can't remember.
Homologue?
Homologue.
Homologue to this one. Well, the reason why is because I'm trying to set up a joke. This one...
Shut up.
This one is because... So this one is called the barbellum. It has another word. I think they also just have it as like os clitorides or something like that. But it's the same thing with the os penis. You can call that the baculum. But I think this one's called the barbellum. And it made me think about that guy who, if Eve was created from Adam's penis bone, then the missing penis bone in Eve suggests that God may have created a third person, possibly non-gender specific, right? That we don't know about yet. I'm just suggesting this, and whether or not that person has a bone in their genitals will suggest how deep this goes.
Where do you think they'll be discovered?
I think it's for Bible scholars to look into
true.
this, but I'm just suggesting there could have been 3 people in the Garden of Eden, and they might have been in a throuple. I'm just suggesting that
A triumvirate.
it's a real reimagining of it. I'm just saying if that penis bone is missing,
Wow, that'll change everything. In terms of the teachings.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they do talk a lot about... I grew up Catholic. They talked a lot about the traditional...
Yeah.
I don't remember them actually talking about that a lot.
The traditional throuple.
The traditional throuple.
Yeah.
This is gonna be big.
Think how much more accepting people will become.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, I'm a bit conservative. I'm just in a in a couple, but it's also fine in God's eyes to be in a throuple.
Well, it's more than fine. That's how he intended it.
Yeah, that's the way
Yeah.
God intended it.
If anything, I'm the sinner.
Well, God's in the throuple. The God,
That's
the
true.
Son, the Holy Son, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and the Father, and the Holy Father.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fine.
He is a throuple.
It isn't a throuple. All right.
Hopefully we are not edging too close to blasphemy here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That thing that I'm always very worried about. Non-human primates almost certainly do have orgasms, but they're still not sure whether all mammals experience orgasms.
There's a guy called Steve who swears they do.
He's working hard in the labs
God bless you, Steve.
with some labs.
It's because it's very difficult to measure pleasure in animals. So a lot of time when it looks like they're smiling, it's just their mouth is open. I think.
Yeah, we put our thoughts onto animals
yeah.
a lot, don't we?
Yeah, I know when I'm orgasming, I always smile.
I always open my mouth.
Yeah, I always pant with my tongue out, which is what I call my Q face.
Thank you. Very good. I
Thank
like
you.
that.
All right.
It's the mountain erupting, freezing it in place.
Capital Q. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or little Q still works.
Now, these kind of last few bits are going to be my positioning of text is going to be a little bit all over the place. But the interesting thing is that, like I mentioned earlier, the clitoris is inside the vagina for most creatures, right? But the human one isn't, right? And so why is that?
clitoris is coming from inside the
The pleasure's coming from inside the vagina. I don't know. So good.
I've been watching some horror movies lately. Sorry, but
Hello?
Do you like scary vaginas?
what's your favorite scary vagina?
Literal fact. So, one thought is that ovulation cycles in women, that's when they release an egg. Females of any species.
Dave being
Ovum.
the Latin for egg, probably.
Yeah, and is the plural ovules? Maybe I'm not sure. Anyway,
Eggs.
I think that's where the eggs, mate.
Eggs.
The word you're looking for is eggies.
Eggies.
So what we have, which is ovulatory cycles, they have only evolved in a few lineages of mammals, right? So it's actually quite rare to just have eggs coming out on a timer, right? Egg timer. That's what I call it. The egg timer. They just come out, in cycles like that. Because our ancient mammalian ancestors originally relied on ovulation triggered by sex with a male. So, those ones developed clitoris inside the vagina because you're just walking around. You're walking around the bush, the jungle, the savanna, the winter one. What's the winter one called?
Tundra.
The tundra.
The Arctic tundra.
The Arctic tundra. And you might not encounter males that much, right? And so it would be crazy for you to just be ovulating at random times like that and then just missed the cycle again, So what would happen is that these ones would had developed with a clitoris inside the vagina, and so when there was sex, that would release hormones from the clitoris, or the clitoral stimulation would release hormones, which would then signal the body to release an egg. And so then when the sperm would start climbing up, then the egg would have come out, and then...
Does that sound like a better system or a
It's
worse
a
system?
way better
That's
system.
a way better
It would be-
system.
it would be
That's what I
great.
thought.
Oh my God.
Yeah, although we would probably have more accidental pregnancies now,
Yeah.
because now we can have occasional, although you shouldn't,
Yeah.
if you're... I'm not going to give any advice here.
You're right. It would be more.
Hard cut to Allen Court being sued for
For people having babies.
a class action. There's 1,000 people have got together. So,
Yeah,
we
but-
heard on a podcast.
There's the do
Alasdair,
go on
a
baby
scientist
bump.
apparently.
This is the do go on baby
Yeah.
boomers, because after the Lit For Clit episode, everyone had unprotected sex in what they thought was a sort of a no egg time of their cycle.
Alasdair, he went into great detail about the rhythm method.
Yeah. I do love rhythm. I'm a drummer. You like that, hun? The best form of contraception is just drumming in front of your lady. Oh man. So
Wow.
So it's only inside mammals that have evolved these cycles in which the clitoris has moved away, right, outside of the vagina, so that it might not even get any contact during penetration, right? Which, for me, right, this evolutionary moving out like that makes me wonder, where do you think the clitoris is going?
You reckon it's going to keep moving up and out?
Where's it heading? I mean, we know with whales, right, their nose evolved over time from when they were land creatures to the top of their head to become their blowhole.
Yeah.
Right?
We know that.
Where's the clit going?
So
I think it could be going to the tip of the finger, could be going on top of the head.
So
that'd
what's the
handy.
clit's end game?
Yeah.
What is the end game?
Well, autonomy, I reckon.
Yeah.
It could become its own creature.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's eventually going to sort of bud off from the body and just maybe
Sort of float.
swim.
Yes, it's a great swimmer.
Float like a butterfly and swim like a bee. As we mentioned earlier. You know? And you'll probably just find them in your sort of in your common, your garden ponds and things like that. You'll be able to just
look, honey.
Oh,
Look at that little family of clitorises.
Maybe they'll grow into frogs or something like that, whatever the
they'll be
clitoris
cute. They'll be
version
cute.
of a frog is. A very happy animal. A very
Oh
happy
my
animal.
God, so
and then
happy.
women will, of course, no longer have any pleasure at all.
Sounds about right.
Any pleasure at all. They can still enjoy a nice game of Scrabble or something like that. You don't need a clit for that, Al.
You need a clit
Do
for
you
that.
really need a clit for that?
Matt, you need a clit to drive a car.
I'm wondering how you did it hands-free.
Now, while they don't know whether other animals...
You know how I'm a very good driver.
Yeah. Yeah, that reverse park makes way more sense now.
Yeah.
She got the biggest van I've ever been in
Yeah.
into the smallest park with this sort of move.
Yeah. Wow.
One hand, palm on the wheel, round once, round the other way, and we're in. I'd had a go.
Yeah.
I reckon for half an hour.
That kind of
she
practice.
had first go just whoomp, whoomp. Like, how's it? I was starting to believe it wasn't possible.
To get that kind of big thing into such a small space, your mum's got to pass on a lot of androgens to you in birthing time.
Yeah, thank you, Mum.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, while we don't know whether or not other mammals,
the one.
all other mammals have orgasms, what is certain is that females who stick around longer during the act of mating are much more likely to become pregnant and produce more offspring. So if a clitoris does enhance enjoyment, then it would be strongly selected for in nature through increasing the female's chance of having offspring. So we don't know for sure whether, other animals, it creates pleasure, but this is kind of the theoretical argument for that it probably does.
Wow.
Right? And although the clitoris is not well studied, there is evidence of larger clitorides, yes, in animals in which sex plays an important part in relationship building. Examples include the matriarchal hyena, the bonobo chimps, humans, and of course the dolphins, who we know now have huge clitorises. So maybe more pleasure then plays more of a role. So I'm kind of coming to the end here, but what I've noticed is amongst all the research, I'll just read what I said, but amongst all this research, I know that there's so many questions, so many articles that are like asking, what is the evolutionary purpose of the female orgasm? Do women even need them? Actually, it's a fluke that women have orgasms because they're pointless from a breeding point of view. Right? And they should be thankful that they get anything, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much of that kind of stuff out there. And it kind of seems like just because it's not needed for, popping out an egg or whatever like that. And it kind of seems to, like, a lot of the time it feels almost like, like it ignores a lot of stuff about, and this is kind of my opinion, right? And it's not scientific, but this is my reason why I think, of course, women would have orgasms. Some people are saying it's like male nipples, right? It's just a leftover thing from that women have that we don't need, but and they say, well, it's just a thing that men have that women don't need, but they just get it as a gift, right? I think that's stupid, right? I think that there's probably evolutionary.
You think
reasons.
the idea that there's a gift in your body that is kind of...
It's just like, it's just a nice thing and blah, blah. But I think it seems silly to think that there's no evolutionary reason. And these are my own, but non-specific evolutionary reasons, right? Firstly, when do we use our clitorises, right? Usually to chill. When it's not for reproduction, we just masturbate to relax and cut stress and clear our heads. That's when I use mine, right? Basically, I'm saying that we know that it can have some kind of therapeutic effect, right? And I reckon in nature, I can't, not that I can imagine people masturbating just alone in nature, but it must happen, right? Back in the day, that there would be some evolutionary advantage to not being stressed out and feeling good, right? That would be one thing. And then I would say that the other one is that it would also be useful in figuring out if a mate that you currently have, especially long-term mates, is actually willing to put time and care into you. Like, because firstly, everybody deserves to come and you shouldn't always have to do it. No, I'm just joking. But but I'm just saying that like there is an evolutionary higher level mate selection thing that goes on where you find out more about a person if they're willing to do things that they don't have to do and they just do it as a kind act towards somebody because they care about them. I feel like that helps in partner selection, and not just for breeding, and I think that can play a good role in long-term survival. And I think but these are just my own things. And so I'm ending with this pseudoscience of my own.
Well, you are a pseudoscientist.
I am a fake scientist. And so I think everything that I say should be fake science. And so that, I would say, is the history of the human clitoris.
Bloody hell.
Great
Well
work.
done.
Fantastic stuff. But obviously there's one question left, and that is, do you think it exists?
Yeah, we
I
always
think
ask about the mystery.
Yeah.
After all your
episodes.
research,
Yeah.
obviously we've heard a bit today that sounds like it exists.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm
you've-
skeptical.
you've
Yeah.
been
We
in
also
there.
had a lot of scientists who don't believe it
Yeah.
exists.
I think that the human clitoris is actually just urine.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion, but I'll leave it to the scientists to make the actual decision.
I think it's mole people.
Mole people?
I think mole people are
That's
involved
just them
somehow.
sticking their nose out?
Yeah, I think
Sticking, so it's not actually the devil's teeth.
no,
it's the mole's nose.
Mole's nose.
The mole's nose.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's how they feel their way around. They're blind. Like the clitoris.
Yeah, you never said anything about the clitoris
Whether the-
having a side or not.
Hey, it had eyes. No, as far as I know, it doesn't have an eye. You're thinking of the anus.
You're looking right into the eye of the anus, and the eye of the anus stares back.
If you look long enough. So-
Wow. Well, again, Al, I think I never learn any more than when you come in here and talk science.
Well, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you learn about Atlantis. You learn about
Well, I think
all the murderers that you cover.
the blowhole being a nose, it seems to be the thing that's stuck in my mind the most.
That's what I hoped on an
Also-
episode about the clitoris. Right? This
was
is
the
how
other-
much men don't want to know about female bits. They only remember things about whales' noses.
That bit where you mentioned a whale was interesting. The rest didn't hear a bit.
Yeah, just didn't connect to it for whatever reason.
That's cool. That's cool.
You did say something right at the end, which I feel like will be quoted out of context. You said something like, "Everyone deserves to come."
Yeah, I think everybody does deserve to come.
I think that one
I mean-
will be on T-shirts.
I think the important thing is also knowing that, like, some people who are listening to this have not been raised to feel okay with any kind of sex stuff, and that you should know that basically the only reason that you're here is because of sex stuff, and you should at least be able to enjoy it. And knowing more about your body will aid that in some sense. Hopefully,
That is beautiful, Al.
please don't feel bad about it. There's so many things to feel bad about.
Yeah, so many.
But right now we're all, I don't know if I want to speak for you all, but I'm feeling lit for clit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are illuminated for clituminated.
Dave's finally ready for his first time.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my god, it's gonna be great.
Wish me luck, everyone.
When you put your penis into that first clitoris, it's gonna be so hot.
We find Dave and a hyena. No, Dave, no.
No.
Thank you so much, Al. That was our second most requested topic, and I think only you could do it justice.
Yeah, agreed.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for having me. And if you got dirty science jobs, or dirty, any kind of topics that you don't want to get your hands dirty with, please allow me to plunge my hands into it and pull it out so that I can show you.
Well, I look forward to Whackers for Whackers.
Whackers for Whackers is so good.
So good.
I think the other big thing I learnt was that we have a science legend in the neighbourhood.
Yeah,
Dr.
that's really
Helen
cool.
O'Connell.
Yeah,
Amazing.
absolutely. And so
So
hopefully-
funny that she's not like. Well, I mean, maybe she is very well known.
She's well known in clit circles,
Right.
but she's getting everybody should know about it. Like it's almost like living near Einstein.
Yeah.
She's like the Clit's Einstein. I would say, how many anatomical scientists are still alive now who have made gigantic breakthroughs?
Yeah.
I'm so surprised it happened in our lifetime. That's amazing.
It happened too recently.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
sounds Nobel Prize worthy to me.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Was she in the conversation?
I hope so. I don't know, but she should be in the conversation.
You said she got an Order of Australia.
She got an Order of Australia. They didn't say for clitoris,
Right.
clitoris stuff, for clit stuff, but they.
It was for singing or something.
They said the community and stuff like that. It's all a lot of the surgery stuff, but I reckon it should just be like the clitoris stuff should just be up to top. People are still like a lot of doctors are like, why do you study the clitoris? Isn't that a bit obscene? There she is.
There she is.
So good.
She's so cool. She's very cool.
She's like, she's still young.
She's very young.
I'm just half expecting a black
and white photo, I know.
Yeah,
Here
she
she is,
would have been
just
like in her late 20s or 30s when she did the first research.
What a cool person.
Absolute legend. And you are an absolute legend, Al. And we can hear more of you on Two in the Think Tank. Of course, the podcast we
Sure.
talked about. You can check out the video or hopefully the podcast of the 18-hour 300
Yeah.
sketches.
And if they want, they can listen to the Pop Test, which is me and Andy's science quiz show. That's we get through the ABC Radio National. But also, there's going to be another season we're going to be recording in December. And so, if you listen to it and you go, "Oh my God, I actually do enjoy this," and like that, well, then you could. There's going to be more coming.
That's very
Awesome.
exciting. Any chance of a clit-based episode?
At the moment, the national broadcaster is more conservative than the national do go on. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, but they're not yet. But I use up all my good stuff on you guys.
Yeah, but thank you so much. But honestly, that show is so funny, and also you learn a lot. You and
Thank you
Andy
very
pack in
much.
so many facts about a certain science topic each week. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. It's not. Yeah. It's on. It comes in seasons. But yeah. But it's very fun to make. And much more difficult. Do go on. You have to no for like Two and a Think they can just show up and you record.
Yeah.
Whereas this you got to actually do heaps of research.
Yeah.
Even probably more than we do here because then we have to have a fact checker look over it.
Oh my God. Yeah, we don't have that.
No, yeah, thank God.
Yeah, we've got Twitter for that.
Yeah. And it keeps us humble.
I think so. Yeah, people should go back and listen to the. I keep saying Hot for Cockles. Actually,
Keen for Peen.
Keen for Peen.
Keen for Peen episode.
And and stay tuned. Maybe if you're listening to this in the future, also check out the Whackers for Cloacas episode. Thanks so much for joining us, Al. We'll let you move on with your life, and everyone else should hang around, and we'll get into everyone's favourite section of the show. What a great report from Alasdair. But now he's gone. So let's move on.
Forget about it.
Forget
okay?
about him.
It's in the past.
I don't know why you're getting bogged down in it.
Yeah, God.
Oh, everyone's yelling at their iPod. Oh, I wish Alasdair was still here. Well, he's not.
And that's okay. All right?
Life goes on.
But it's now time for everyone's favourite section of the show, like I said. And I love it because we get to thank the supporters who make this show possible. Without their support, there'd be no Do Go On. So, you can get involved as well if you like at dogoonpod.com or patreon.com/dogoonpod. And there's a bunch of different levels you can sign up to depending on your budget and what kind of bonuses you'd like to get. What are some of the things they can get, Popper?
Access to a newsletter, a Facebook group, early access to tickets to live shows and tours that we do.
Which we're going to be doing more of.
Yeah. And 3 bonus episodes a month, including Phrasing the Bar, where we have a deep dive into the filmography of everybody's favourite actor, Brendan Fraser.
Jess, I love that you invite Dave and I onto your podcast each month to chat about the films of Fraser.
I'm generous like that.
Another thing people get to do is if you sign up on the Sydney Scheinberg level, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion.
Fact. Yeah, it goes fact, quote, or question, brag, or suggestion.
That's the new jingle, is it? We'll see.
I'm sorry, do you want me to start with,
Yeah.
hello, everybody, my name is Jess.
Now we know.
Yeah, now we know who we're talking to. Everybody.
Yes. So is that the jingle? Have we lost the ding?
Fact, quote, or question.
Break or suggestion ding.
He always remembers the ding in the end, anyway. So just had to do it twice from before he actually did a ding.
I just don't think dings just aren't as rap appropriate.
No, that's probably true. So on the fact quote or question section, I think we keep calling it that, even though there's more options now.
Yeah.
You get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion. You also get to give yourself a title. I read 4 of them out each week. I read them out for the first time on the show. So here we go. The first one comes from first-time fact, quote, or questioner, Anthony Leclerc, which means the Claire in French. And Anthony has given himself the title of Regional Brand Tribal Liaison of Afro-Indigenous Mess Around.
Okay.
And often becomes more clear in the fact quote or question what the title means. Not always. Here,
Sometimes they leave us guessing.
This one from Anthony, he writes as a quote, I wish all to know that I do not propose to sell any part of my country. That's a quote from Chief Sitting Bull.
Mm-hmm.
As of today, roughly $1.5 billion US sits in an account designated to the Ocheti Shakoween for our claim to the Black Hills, which includes Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
Which I put on the Mount Rushmore of cliff face sculptures.
Yeah, big time.
That money has yet to be touched, as the hills are sacred to the tribes of the nation. Oh, shit. The spirit of Chief Sitting Bull lives on to this day. P.S. Mount Rushmore is ugly anyway. They carved in those 4 presidents into a sacred cliff face. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think it's actually quite controversial.
I had no
Didn't
idea.
realise that.
Oh,
Wow.
I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, Anthony. It takes a lot of the fun out of my running Mount Rushmore jokes. But anyway, maybe they end today. So
it's a pretty like, it's a dumb thing anyway. Do you know Mount Rushmore just as a concept? As in like carving some...
It wasn't just meant to be the faces as well, apparently. Apparently it was meant to be full bodies and stuff, but
Oh
they
my
ran out of
God.
money or something like that.
And then, so that's already pretty dumb when you think about it. But then when you add that it's on land that is very sacred, and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is ridiculous.
And Chief Sitting Bull have been quoted as saying, I wish all to know that I do not propose to sell any part of my country.
Wow.
Yeah, I would call that a grim quote. And yet $1.5 million US sits in an account. Thank you so much for that quote, Anthony.
Love a quote. We don't get many quotes.
No,
that was a quote with a fact tacked on, which I like. Context.
Yes,
Context for the quote.
That's right. And interestingly, I do have a pie chart that shows which one has more, and quotes is in the minority. Questions slightly bigger, and then facts. Be right, quotes is the smallest.
Ah.
I've never seen this pie chart. I love the idea
Yeah,
of
where are
it.
you keeping this pie chart?
It's in the survey app we use.
You hiding a pie from me?
You know how he feels about pies.
Dave, what's your favourite kind of chart? Mine's a scientist.
Scientist chart.
I guess a lot of charts are scientist charts. The next one comes from Murray Somerville. And Murray, who we know in the Dugong community as one of the great animators. We've got quite a few great animating listeners, but Murray, he does a bit of art based on the episodes most weeks, and they're always so good.
Yeah, great. Love the style, Murray. Great style.
Murray's given himself the title of Casual Artistic Doodler.
Ooh.
And Murray asks a question, which is, my partner puts spoons, forks, or knives away in the wrong section of the cutlery drawer. It drives me mental. Is that unreasonable? What's some little thing that unreasonably annoys the crap out of you? Love this. I love settling domestic squabbles on podcasts.
Look, it happens like every now and then, and with our cutlery drawer, you can't always see the tops of the cutlery, so I can understand things go back in the wrong places, but generally we know which goes where.
And can you remember that order without looking right now?
Yes. No. Fork, spoon, knife.
Ooh.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
No, I think
No, I
Ours
think it should
goes-
go spoon, fork, knife.
ours goes fork from left to right. Fork, knife, spoon.
Yeah, I think fork and knife should be next to each other. Because
I'm-
you grab those two as a pair. Spoons.
That's
I have no idea the order. I just I do try and put them in the right spot because
Yeah.
I just I'll put it in the if I'm holding a spoon I'll put it with the spoons.
Yeah.
But you're at a
Grab
point
it,
where
yeah.
you don't even have to look.
Well, that's because I can't. Like, you can't see the tops of the cutlery. You have to really pull the drawer all the way out. It's going to fall
Secret
out.
cutlery.
Secret
That's
cutlery.
sick.
We like to keep our
Oh,
cutlery
do you ever have
private.
a lucky dip and you go whatever you got? So you get soup and you pull 2 knives out.
Yeah, you're like, all
That's
right,
it.
Well,
figure
I've
it out.
committed to it.
But something that just makes you, really annoys you?
I,
There's hundreds of things. I just can't think of them.
I do one that really annoys my partner, and that is I leave the bathroom cupboard open a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, leaving doors open or drawers or anything like that. That's
And
something that I
walk
can
away,
see
and then I
being
go.
frustrating.
In my mind, I close that.
Yeah. Okay, one for me is that the way my partner stacks dishes sometimes is guaranteed to smash something. So the other day I sent him a video while he was at work. There was a glass perched on top of a spatula. So the spatula's on its side, glass is on top, and the other side of the rim of the glass was resting on just a Tupperware lid, but just the clasp side of it. And I was like, this.
Dishes, Jenga. Love
Yeah.
it.
It's like a Rube Goldberg machine ready to go.
It was an absolute nightmare.
Some people, I've had old housemates, and possibly I was a housemate like this, who would do a similar thing with the bin. You just
Yeah.
like...
I do that with the recycling.
whoever's filled it should be taking it out. So
Yeah.
people are just like balancing.
Like on The Simpsons, and he's like, he staples a banana skin to the side of the bin.
Yeah. It's that sort of vibe.
Exactly. Well, I reckon my one, the first one that came to mind is, and did Murray say it had to be irrational? Because I think this is rational. And I
Okay,
think
okay.
most people who say would think their own ones are rational. But I get quite annoyed when I let someone in on a narrow street. They're coming the other
Yes.
way, and they don't give you the wave.
Oh, no, that's not. That's
I
completely rational.
absolutely
that is
agree.
psychotic behaviour.
live for the wave. I live for the wave.
The other day, I let in 4 cars kept coming through. First one waved. No, 5 of them. The other 4, no wave. And I'm like, no. You
Whoa.
all wave.
This is the wave tag.
Yeah.
He doesn't wave for all of you. You all wave.
You either wave or I ram.
I like mutter to myself under my breath, you fuck, what the fuck are you doing? But they could literally T-bone the side of my car. As long as they put the wave up, it'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
no worries, mate.
No worries.
Isn't it funny?
Hey,
that
what
does
happened?
seem irrational, though,
Yeah.
right? If you're like, I'd prefer you to damage my car than not wave.
You're going to wave.
That's
How
come-
dare you not wave? I pulled behind a parked car to let you just come
I-
on. You don't know. I could be late for work. I could be on my way to the hospital. People could be dying
I
because I'm
think
waiting
people,
for you.
the first one waving is the most important one, I would say.
Yes.
Because the ones following behind, maybe they just think you're a parked car. Maybe they don't realise.
Yeah.
But if the first one especially, they've seen you pull over.
Yeah.
They know what's going
Yeah,
on.
you've
Yeah.
yielded to them.
I
Yeah.
say, and I caught myself saying it yesterday, and that's what made me think of it. And I think I say this every time. They don't wave. I say, no worries, cunt.
Yeah. Yeah. I always
no
say,
worries,
No
cunt.
worries. Yeah, no worries. Oh, it's
Yeah.
okay. That's all right. No
Just sort
worries.
of like,
Sometimes I turn the table and give them a passive-aggressive wave.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good too.
yeah. It's
That's a fantastic example.
because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but it
affect you.
does.
Yeah, and isn't it weird?
It doesn't matter, but it does.
But yeah, I've noticed that where I'm living, it's just not a part of what people do.
You're not in a waving community.
No, it's not a waving community.
You
I
gotta
think
get
that,
out. You gotta get out. You gotta move.
I think
I'm
I'm
so
gonna
sorry.
have to move again.
You just moved, but you're gonna have to do it again.
I'm gonna keep searching for that wavy
Yeah,
community.
well, next time you're going to have to drive around for about 5 or 6 hours before you decide to
Yeah,
move
that's
somewhere.
right.
Just waving at people.
Yeah.
Are they going to wave back?
Yeah.
That's
what kind
a
of
good point.
community am I gonna be living in?
Exactly. It's
I see that's
disgusting.
the sort of canary in the gold mine kind of thing. Is that what the saying is? It's
Yeah.
not a gold mine, is it?
You can mine.
Whatever, in the mine.
Doesn't
It
matter
doesn't
what
matter what
they're
you're mining.
mining.
Yeah.
Your sayings are all about gold mines, are they? That's how you know someone's doing well. Yes, I'm doing well. I include gold in all my adages. Great question, Murray. Thank you so much, and great artwork. The next one comes from Soph Waldron. Soph, who we know from... Did we realise that she's been in more live shows than anyone else?
Yeah. She's our official photographer.
And Soph has now given herself the title of True Believer of the Lost City of Atlantis.
Okay.
And I'm just looking at when that was submitted. That was months before we did the episode.
That's amazing.
Isn't that funny?
Whoa. How did she know?
Amazing. Great work,
Maybe
Soph.
her fact, quote, question, brag or suggestion might give us some information.
That's a good point. Soph's question is... I know we don't talk about the current global event on the pod, but given we've recently gotten out of 3 months of lockdown, what was the thing you did after 80% that made you just stoked to be back out again? 80% for international listeners, we were allowed out of the house again when 80%
We're vaccinated.
over 16-year-olds were vaccinated in our state. What was the thing you did after 80% that made you just stoked to be back out again? And she's answered her question, which I always love it when people do that, which obviously Murray did as well.
What'd Soph do?
Soph says, for me, it was going for dinner and to the movies with my friends to see Shang-Chi on our first weekend of freedom.
Oof. Dinner and a movie. A classic combo.
Yeah, what a great way
God, that
to...
feels good.
Re-announce yourself to society.
Yeah. I think I went out for dinner with some friends. I kept it fairly I went to the pub. You went to the pub too, I think.
I went to
Dave,
the
didn't
pub, had a fish and chip meal.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
so
the good
good.
stuff. And then I made a bunch of appointments for things I couldn't get done beforehand. Like I got a haircut, I got my brows done, I got a tattoo. I just went nuts.
That's
You're
awesome.
like a new person.
Yeah.
I still haven't gone to a pub.
You simply must.
I'm trying to think. Probably the thing I've done, which hasn't happened yet. It's coming up, or it will have just happened when this comes out. I've been stocking up on interesting beers.
Yep.
And I'd invited my dad, uncle, and cousin around days before the lockdown was announced. I'm like, I've got these beers for us to all try out. We'll play some tunes and drink these beers. And then lockdown, so I've collected more.
Oh, well
now
done.
I've got maybe too many beers. And I've invited them around this weekend.
I believe you.
Play some records and drink some beers.
I believe in you guys. I think you can get through those too many beers.
So I think that's going to feel like I'm back out because, just so much time spent at home.
Yeah.
We even had a curfew for a lot of that, didn't we?
For most of that, yeah.
So going for a run and not having to look at the time.
Yeah.
Basic things that you wouldn't even think twice about.
Do you know what I did on the last day of lockdown? After 270-something days in lockdown, last one, we're free, I bought a paint by number. What is wrong with me?
Paint by number?
You can go do anything now. And I was like, no, I'm going to stay inside.
But I think
do a little bit of painting.
there's a difference between staying in because you want to and staying in because you have to.
Oh, yeah, I love to stay in.
I'm a big fan of the staying
I
as
like
well.
having options.
Oh, I played golf with my mum and dad this week, which
that's
was really
nice.
So I hadn't seen them for 3 months. It's just nice to get out into the bloody bit of nature in the middle of the suburbs.
How'd you go?
I hit them all right. I'm
Great.
pretty good first up for some reason. It's if I play a few times in a row, that's when it goes downhill.
Yeah, right.
When I start to believe in myself again.
That's me with bowling.
Yeah, right.
Real good in the first
Isn't
round.
that interesting?
Or is it the other way around? It doesn't matter. But that is a good question, Soph, and I'm glad that you got to, get out and about.
And you've totally made... I've got to go out for a pub dinner and a movie. That's a great idea. Thank you for that question. Next one comes from Frank West. He's given himself the title of Romeo on the Horse with the Rainbow Mane and Tail.
Okay.
And Frank's got a quote, which starts, "Howdy, partners," which is exactly what someone on a horse would say. Howdy, partners. Firstly, mad on the issue of my card being declined. Oh, this probably isn't required to be read out. But, I'm in here now. He says, I'm just a poor man who spends with reckless abandon, mainly on food. But maybe I can be more disciplined as a patron and keep that money coming in. Thank you for keeping us up to date, Frank. Hey,
your financial
may you
situation.
continue to spend with reckless abandon.
Is that the end of the quote?
No, he says, I present you three with... he put it all in. I imagine he wanted me to read that out. So I present, because everyone knows I only read them out on the show. So,
There's evidence right there.
so Frank writes, I present you three with this quote, and it begins, in nature's infinite book of secrecy, a little I can read. That's the quote. In nature's infinite book of secrecy, a little I can read. You make sense of that? He's written more
Yeah,
after.
out of all the infinite things in nature, if it was a book, I could only read or comprehend just a
Gotcha.
small part.
Thank God
Yes.
Dave's here.
A little. Yeah, that's right.
A
So
little I can read.
there's so many.
Yeah.
The universe is mysterious.
Yes, as we just found out about the fucking hyena clitoris on this week.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Anything
Amazing.
like that, you go, oh, wow.
He
And
said-
did you say where the quote's from?
Yes, he says, this quote comes from the soothsayer in Antony and Cleopatra. I've slowly been making my way through the complete works of Shakespeare on Audible, and I still have 93 hours to go. While I may not be completely understanding what is happening due to how they speak, I thought this was a great way to advertise one's abilities, but also makes those abilities sound kind of disappointing. I reckon you've taken the glass half empty version of that, Frank. I think that's just someone saying, hey, look, there's a lot out there, and isn't the world beautiful?
Yeah.
That's how I
Beautiful
read
and
it.
complex.
That's how I read it after Dave kind
Yeah.
of explained it to me.
But listening to Shakespeare is, for me, seeing it's the best way to understand it, but listening to it is much easier to understand than just reading it off the
Right.
page. You get a lot more context from
You hope
Tone.
the
that
actors, yeah.
the reader is reading it with
Yes, I'm hoping.
knowledge of the text.
Yes, hoping that it is like done by a
Not
cast.
as opposed to how I just did it. With ums and long pauses where they shouldn't have been. Because there's no punctuation.
Yeah.
But the A is capitalized. That's what maybe you might have heard me being thrown.
It'd probably
In
be
nature's
it'd be on a separate line.
Yeah.
right. In nature's infinite book of secrecy, a little I can read.
That's better.
Thank you very much for that, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
And yeah, that's thank you to Anthony, Frank, Soph, and Murray for this week's fact, quote, or questions.
Pack of legends.
We also like to shout out to a few of our other great supporters. These would be signed up on the shout out level or above, which I believe is the Arse Prod level or above. And
Of course, you are associate producers of the program.
yes, that's right. And I normally, if I can, I normally start off with the first three. Is that okay?
Of course.
And Jess, you normally come up with a game, something I like
Little
last
hard.
week's one, how we gave them all nicknames.
Yeah, a little hard when we've spoken for an hour and a half about clitorises. So I'm a bit stumped.
What about we give them a Greek hero name?
Yeah, I was thinking that. All right, let's do that. That's going to... Immediately, we're going to regret that, but let's give it a crack.
Well, yeah, we give him we give him a name. We just put a Cleese at the end.
Yeah, perfect.
And then give him like a
A power.
power. Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
great.
They're the god of whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So first up, I'd love to thank from Victoria Point in Queensland, Australia, Charmy Zelinsky.
Ooh, Charmy Zelinsky.
Charmicles.
Charmicles is real good.
Oh.
And a power or like god of?
Yeah, I think whatever you're feeling.
God, like charm.
Yeah.
Like I think it's sort of like, it's just a god of sales.
God of sales.
You know, really charms
Oh, yeah.
them, sucks them in, and they upsells, and it works.
Oh, yeah. King of the
Hey,
upsell.
looking for anything you need? Just browsing? Is it that kind of thing? Just browsing, or you're interested in making a purchase here today?
Yeah. I think it's like the type of sales where it's not even that. It's not like, hey, are you just looking? I'll leave you to it. No. This is a salesman that just it transports you
Right.
to a world of possibilities.
Yeah.
For
Sorta-
just the low price.
I'm picturing sort of Simon the Likeable from Get Smart. I don't know if you've watched much of that show. I think I've
remember
referenced it a
Simon
couple times the last few weeks now. But there was this character who was a bad guy, worked for Chaos, Simon the Likeable, and you couldn't escape his charms.
Yeah.
So as soon as he looked you in the eye, they'd do a glint effect on his eye from memory, and then you'd just be under his spell.
Yeah, it's that.
Simon
It's
the
that.
Likeable. Charmicles the Likeable.
Brilliant.
God of sales. I think we're using the Homer Simpson rule of Greek godifying your name. Homocles cares not for beans. Which I don't. I reckon I've quoted that my whole life. And I didn't get it for the first 20 years of that. The next one, local, Brunswick, Victoria, Australia. Siobhan Galea.
Ooh, Siobhanacles? Galeacles.
Galeacles.
I like Galeacles.
Or Galea?
Galea sounds like an
Yeah, it
ancient
already
Greek
sounds-
city.
Yeah.
Galea.
So Galeacles?
Siobhan of Galea.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Siobhan of Galea, god of salad, ratio.
Okay.
Always gets it spot on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, you can get salads. I mean, I'm not a big salad guy, but you can get salads that are too lettuce heavy.
Yeah.
Not enough feta cheese or
Yeah.
or beetroot balls or whatever
Yum.
whatever the hero of the piece
Yeah.
is.
No, what about the Greek hero of the salad?
The Greek that's probably where I was thinking. Greek salad is definitely what my brain
Greek
did there.
hero.
I'm like, how did I get there? But yes, so Siobhan just knows exactly what to do. So
Yeah.
she'll come to a party. There'll be a barbecue happening. There'll be a salad. She'll scoop a bit out, have a bite, and go, needs more balsamic.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Needs a splash of lemon.
Yep, knows
Yeah.
exactly.
And you're like, what? Lemon?
And then
Okay. And you do it, and you're like, holy shit. Yes.
Siobhan, why do we keep doubting you?
Yeah.
You do this
When
every
will
time.
I learn?
Thank you so much, Siobhan.
Siobhan.
And finally, from me, I'd love to thank another Aussie from Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory in Australia, Rob's in the NT.
Ooh,
Rob's in the NT. All one word. What about
Robocles.
I was just thinking of gone blank on the
This is Jess and I just watching a master at work here. Dave's looking into the middle distance.
I mean, I've already made a suggestion. It's obviously no good. Let's hear something.
Well, I think
way
are
better.
you thinking of the god of, or are you trying to?
I was thinking I had a title in the name,
Okay.
but I will bow to the master. It was Rob Sippides.
Oh, Rob Sippides. That's
That's
pretty good.
That's good. I like that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I love it.
Rob Sippides, King of the Crocs, Northern Territory.
Oh,
He's like the
yes.
Croc King. So he appears.
God
that's
of Crocs.
God of Crocs. So he's sort of like. Is there a god that can just like the sea god, like
Yeah.
Aquaman
Yeah.
or Trident or whatever.
Poseidon.
Poseidon. Thank you. So
Yeah.
so you know like how Aquaman or Poseidon sort of like can travel standing on dolphins.
Yeah.
Well,
He can do it on Crocs.
Robocles does that with Crocs.
Fuck, that's cool.
That's where the Crocs came from as footwear.
Yeah.
He wore the original Crocs.
And Crocs are actually in talks with Rob and the NT about doing a bit of a collab.
Yeah.
Love
And-
So
it.
that's exciting.
And Rob's like, honestly, I'm glad you came to me finally because I've been looking to sue your asses.
Yeah.
I don't know why
How
I said it like that, but
Dare you?
sue your asses is probably how we would have said it. So thank you to you, Rob Oakleys.
I would love to thank some people, if I may.
Sure can.
From Copenhagen in Denmark, Philip Galskard.
Oh, it sounds more like your
Galskard.
sort of Viking god.
Yeah.
What about the Norse? More
Norse
of a
gods,
Norse
yeah.
vibe.
What about Philippius Galsgard?
Ooh,
Oh, I like
that's
that.
good. That's good. And God of
Surfboards.
Oh, okay,
Hello.
great. I was going to say the classic one's God of Thunder.
Yeah, but
Thor, but this surfboards. So, does he still have a hammer?
Yeah.
Still has a hammer, but
Aqua hammer.
his aqua hammer is used for. Do they have
chiseling out some gnarly waves.
Because like in cricket, you got to hammer it, or you used to have to knock in your bats, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have to do something like that with surfboards? You got to wax them.
You got to wax it with a hammer.
with a hammer.
Yeah.
It's a wax hammer.
That's
With my hammer made of wax
that's actually
and
That's
my
actually sick.
wax.
and that character's name is
Good giblets,
every time
I haven't seen it, and I love the idea of giblets.
giblets or giblets? I forget, but it's one of those two.
but it's very funny. So thank you so much, Philip. I would also love to thank from South Yarra in Victoria, Hannah Bath.
Hannah Bath.
Hannah Bath is a good friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Who I did not realise was a Patreon.
Thank you so much, Hannah.
Love those surprises.
What about Hanopides, Bathopides?
Ooh, that's fun. Hanothopes? Say it again.
Hanothopes?
Yes.
Barnothopes?
Yeah.
Barn.
No, Barthopes.
Barthopodies.
Yeah, Hanopathes? Barthopodies.
Oh,
Oh.
yes.
It's difficult,
Can
but...
you just sum up your friendship with Hannah or what you know of Hannah in 3
Okay.
words?
Oh, okay. Actor.
Yes.
Funny.
Yes.
I mean, 3 words.
That's enough. I think that's
3
enough
words
for
is
me.
hard.
God of laughter.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's fun.
Goddess of laughter. We love that.
So just if wields the power
Yeah.
kindly, but if you need a
Little
laugh,
boost.
little boost,
Of laughter.
you
Hannah
get
Bath.
Hanothopes in the
Hanothopes.
game.
That's so funny. Hanothopes. Thank you, Hannah. I'd also love to thank from Melbourne, Victoria,
Jeez, there's been a lot of Aussies today.
Alex Stewart.
Oh, well, if you think you're close friends with Hannah Bath, I think I can help you
You can
one
top
here.
that? Wow,
Yes,
well.
Alex, my sister.
Yeah, but is she a close friend?
And I would call her my sister and close friend.
All right, yeah, you have up to me and Hannah
I just
then.
saw her the
Hannah
other
and I
day.
could play sisters.
Oh, that's so cool. Alex, all right, if I could sum you up. Damn it,
3
why did I
words.
set that
yeah,
up?
now you've got to do it. Alex in 3 words.
And, and a name?
Oh, well, Dave, you've been on fire with these.
Oh, what about, I love X in this, Alexerxes.
Ooh.
Alexerxes.
Stewart.
Alexerxes.
Yeah.
Alexerxes. I know
That's
that.
fun.
I think the ancient Gaelic or Scottish for Stuart is still Bard. So I don't know if we can work that in.
Alexerxes still Bardios.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's good.
god, this is so good, Alex. Oh my god.
Yes. Well, Alex be the. I know big lover of live music.
Yes.
So I wonder if we can work that in.
Okay.
Loves family. She's a big fan of hanging out with the fam, going on holidays.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Alex, that I'm breaking you down to these
Yeah, feels weird, doesn't
very
it?
surface level things. Has worked in real estate, the real estate world. But very intelligent. Is there some sort of god of brain?
No.
No.
Uh,
Well, you've met Alex a few
yeah, I
times.
know Alex. And like something about like live music. I was thinking of like.
God of rock.
What are you laughing at? I was going for like, so obviously the live music is very important, but we leave that to the artists. But what can make a live show even better is like light and sound design.
Oh yeah, okay, great.
You know, smoke machines, lasers.
Oh,
God of light and sound is awesome.
That is
That is
sick,
very
actually.
good.
I was hoping you were going to say God of Smoke Machine.
We'll go with light and sound, but that does include smoke machines.
You
I do
know,
wanna make
Evan
that
is the
clear.
god of Evan Munro-Smith is the god of smoke machines.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves them.
I've been in rooms that he's not been in with a dormant smoke machine that'll just go. Psh. I don't know how he does it.
God, he's good.
I don't know how he does it.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much,
Alexerxes
Alex. That's so
still
cool.
Bardios.
So cool you're involved.
Did you know Alex was a Patreon?
I think I did. I think I did.
That's
But I
nice.
didn't realize for so long because we're up. These people have been on board for about a year and a half. or
Yeah,
something.
that's really nice.
Can I
So
thank
cool.
a
Please.
trio of people? I would love to thank... Oh, my goodness. You're never going to believe this. You thought you were close with the last two. From Maryland in the United States, Catherine Hildebrand, who, of course, is a stranger to me, but I love you so much for your support,
Catherine
Catherine.
Hildebrand, no relation.
You do love Maryland though, don't you? Am I right in saying the first state?
It's definitely not my favourite state, though.
No.
No.
But it's in that sort of region,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
great. It's
I'm pretty sure I go for the Maryland college basketball team.
You're
Maybe
pretty sure.
the Torpins or something like that.
I'm pretty sure.
Big fan. Yeah, it's not that far from God's real country of Vermont. But I would love to thank Catherine Hildebrand, who is, of course...
Terrapins. The Terrapins.
Okay.
Not the Bernie Torpins.
Okay.
What about,
I thought they were named after Elton John's writing partner, but no.
what about Kath Terrapin Hildebrand?
Oh, I like that a lot.
Terrapin.
Kath Terrapin Hildebrand, God of embroidery.
Oh, okay. God of embroidery.
Have you seen? You'd need to be to make their flag. It's so intricate. Have you seen the Maryland flag?
No, I can't say I have seen the Maryland flag.
I've just looked up Maryland, the first state, and it says, according to this, I think it's from wikipedia.org, which is a website you can find things on. So you've got among its occasional nicknames are Old Line State, the Free State, and the Chesapeake Bay State. It was named after the English Queen Henrietta Maria, known in England as Queen Mary, who was the wife of King Charles. That's where Maryland comes from.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy living there, Kath Terrapin Hildebrand.
Love that.
I would love to thank also from...
Just quickly, here's the flag.
Oh, shit.
Imagine embroidering this. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there's too much going on, to be honest. Sorry, Maryland, that's a mess. Bad colours, too. Yuck.
Good luck to you.
What a shit flag.
I like it.
How?
I like it. It looks like, a test pattern on a TV.
Nah, it's fucked.
If you're
Dave,
from the 60s.
Please keep going or I'm going to throw up.
And it's going to look a little something like this.
I did just eat a banana.
I would love to thank from Ventura in California, Christina Gonzalez.
Oh, I love Gonzalez as a surname.
Christina, please.
That's pretty good. Christina Cleese Gonzalez. I like it.
And
Ventura.
Yeah.
Is, I obviously go straight to Ace. So
Ooh.
animal, some sort of animal related. Thinking like, God of what do you stampedes?
Ooh, wow.
That's good.
Sorry, Mufasa.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if Christina was the reigning monarch or god at the time, but if she was, she could have stopped it.
Yeah, she might. It might have been before her 4-year term.
Yeah, that's right. 4 more years, like we always say for Christina Cleese. 4 more years, please.
4 more, please, Christina Cleese Gonzalez. Please. Thank you so much. And finally, I would like to thank from Mawson Lakes in South Australia, Tessa Weber.
Testicles.
Testicles, web soccer, please.
Oh, web soccer, please.
Pass the soccer, please.
Of course, from South Australia, beautiful wine country.
Oh, yes. Oh, the Barossa.
Goddess.
Home of the big reds.
Goddess of partying.
Oh. Partying up or down?
Partying up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
God of party. Yeah.
God of
But like a
pre-drinks.
wine and cheese party.
Yes.
Like a classy party.
Took the title from Van Wilder.
Yes. Yeah, he's the god of party. Tessa classed it up a bit. God knows that needed it.
You know the movie Van Wilder? I can never remember he's become quite a famous actor, that guy.
Ryan Reynolds.
But I can only ever think of his name as Van Wilder.
He's quite famous.
Yeah, I just can never remember his name.
That's funny.
Oh my God, I loved you in Van Wilder. Thanks.
It's like I've been in so many things.
Oh, yeah. 3 guys, a girl, and a pizza place. Yeah, loved that too.
Loved that. It was fun. It was fun.
I love that
so
character
much.
you do.
Very good at it, he is. Well, we've only got one thing left to do here. And that's see if there's anyone that's going to be inducted into the Triptych Club.
Oh, that's right. Dave's looking at me going, nodding.
This is where we love to give a second thank you to people that have been on the shout-out level or above for 3 consecutive years. These people, they're the true believers of the podcast, never dropped off. And to thank them, we induct them into a bit of a Hall of Fame / memorial clubhouse.
Yeah.
Where inside, it's a club, it's a disco, it's a bar, it's a chill-out zone, it's a pillow palace.
Yeah.
There is a ball pit. And we always welcome in some new people, but also check in to see what kind of snacks we've got this week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Matt mentioned earlier the man in the boat. I've constructed a canoe, and I will be serving his snacks out of that. It's like a grazing board in a canoe.
Very fancy.
Yeah, it's really nice this week.
Some Barossa area cheeses.
Absolutely, of course. Only the finest.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
All right, and Dave, you normally book a band?
Yes, I've actually got the Californian punk band Clit 45,
Oh, fantastic.
who haven't been active since 2016, but I've got them to reform.
Fuck
That's so
yeah.
And again, I booked these months in advance, so it's just amazing.
I don't know how you
They
do
happen
it.
to be.
What do they have? Where are you? Do they have a song? A big song? Because I imagine they'd have some great song
That's some
titles
good
somehow.
stuff. Yeah.
Discography, Tales from the Clit was their debut album.
That's good.
Then Self-Hate Crimes, 2005. Final album was called 2468, We're the Kids You Love to Hate.
Oh.
Oh, okay. There's a bit of self-hate there. Bit of
And
a theme.
sadly for
Wow.
them, they announced that they had officially disbanded on Christmas Day 2007 on their MySpace page.
Oh, that's what I always wanted. It was someone asked Santa for it. Could Clit 45 break up?
Please.
I'll see what I can do.
They've toured with a lot of great bands, Bad Religion, Dropkick Murphys, a bunch of other punk bands. So yeah,
I imagine it's
Great having
got the vibe of a band who was formed as a bit of a joke, and they were a super group, with
Yeah,
it does
other.
sound like it.
I bet you that's what they are. All right, so I've got 5 names to induct. The way this normally works is I'm standing at the door. I've got the clipboard. I read out the name, and Dave, to welcome you into this exclusive club, Dave really boosts you up. I know you're probably already feeling fantastic anyway, but Dave wants to lift you up even higher. He's your hype man, and then Jess, of course, is Dave's
Yeah.
hype man too, because every hype man needs a hype woman.
Of course.
So, first up, you ready for this?
Ready.
From Wellington in New Zealand, it's Mel Cleary.
Oh, let me be cleary. We're so happy you're here.
Yes.
Did you say we're so happy you're here? No. All right.
I should have though.
Should've,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought
That's good.
you did, and I'm like, I don't know if I love it or hate it, but
I
it
love
turns
it.
out I love it. From York in Great Britain, home of the Vikings, it's Johnny Ollis.
Oh, more like Christmas time in Ollis. It feels like Christmas when you're here.
Yes.
My favourite day of the year.
I don't get it, but I love it.
Christmas
yes,
time in
Dave.
Hollis.
That Ron DMC song.
Ooh.
From London in Great Britain, it's Larissa Murray.
Oh, Larissa, I miss ya when you're not here.
Yes. God, he's good.
From Leamington Spa in England, it's Simon Morgan.
Oh, my face is Beamington Spa to see you,
Yes.
Simon.
Oh, my God.
Come on in.
Another one of our great
Today.
listener artists.
Yeah, well, a great illustrator to the stars. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
And finally, from Wakefield in Great Britain, it's Catherine Groom.
Oh, let me
Make some room.
make some room for Catherine.
yes.
I think there's. I assume they're related for some reason, but I think we've got 3 great Groom supporters.
Oh, they're all our greatest grooms.
Thank you so much, Catherine Groom, Simon Morgan, Larissa Murray, Johnny Ollis, and Mel Cleary. Much love to you all, and make yourselves at home. That's all we need to talk about here today.
But can you believe it? This is nearly it for Block.
Oh, my God. They said it couldn't be done.
Wow.
Episode 8 of Block 2021, the most voted for, most suggested, most popular topic.
Yeah, the biggest, the
of year,
baddest.
the biggest, the best, and the baddest topic. We've got it coming up next week. And we can't wait to share it with you. So we'll see you then. Anything else we need to say before we go?
I guess in the meantime, just if you want to get in contact with us or check out any of our merchandise or our previous episodes, links to our Patreon or supporting us directly through our website, you can go to dogoonpod.com. Lots of links there for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at
It's all
dogoonpod.
there.
And I guess that's it, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
So thank you so much again to Alasdair Tremblay-Birchall for his fantastic report. But we will be back next week with the number 1 requested topic for Block 2021. But until then, I'll say thank you so much and goodbye.
Later.
Bye.